Table 7 was good, though. I liked everyone there. They were. There was a blogger from Texas, the reporter for the Sacramento Bee. There was the guy who wrote Mike Maloney's book. Why am I forgetting his name? Oh, Peter Fornatale.
Oh,
I know. I thought this guy.
Cool
Pete was very cool guy. And then Frank Scatorcio or Frank.
I don't know him very well, but he's pretty cool.
Yeah, he was a cool guy too. So we had a good table.
So this trying to pick up Bobby Flay is becoming the problem now.
What's wrong?
She can't get in there because she doesn't have a credential.
Pick him up?
Oh, no.
Yeah. And so I said, have my credential, and she doesn't want to use it because it's got a male name on it. Oh, no. Come on. Nobody's checked with the name on my credential in front of me. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't have anybody. If you go the back way, nobody looks at anything.
Somebody says, I'm just here to pick up Bobby Flay for the TVG show. You'll right in.
I watched a whole. Yeah, there was a whole. Yeah, there was a whole gaggle of nubiles who didn't have any credentials and were up there getting coffee. You'd be fine. Is he 9 o'clock?
Oh, for crying out loud! I'll go get him.
I know. Caton would be back in 7 minutes with Bobby Flay, I guarantee. 30 seconds to the open. Going to Vegas, Jack Christopher.
So, how does this work? Damon Thayer posts, already regretting my decision to fly American Air to the Breeders' Cup at San Diego. And American Air instantly responds, we're thankful you've chosen us for your travel today. We've got a backup flight secured for you to San Diego if needed. I have millions.
It's always generic responses.
Gunrunner reaching for the wire, collected alongside, and then comes West Coast and War Story, but Gunrunner's on top of the world! He wins the Breeders' Cup Classic!
In 2017, Gunrunner punctuated his Horse of the Year campaign with a dominant victory in the Breeders' Cup Classic. This year, the World Championships return to the Seaside Oval, and the biggest names in the sport have assembled at the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. Who will rise to the occasion and emerge as this year's definitive star? TVG brings you all the action as the competitors and their connections make their final preparations for the biggest weekend of the breakfast at the Breeders' Cup.
Normally when going to Vegas, you have to go up to 15. But right just off the 5 here at Del Mar, going to Vegas. Over the main track at the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club, preparing for the Maker's Mark Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf. Then there is the favorite for the TVG Breeders' Cup Juvenile, Jack Christopher, out on the track this morning for Chad Brown. Just two of the stars you'll see on this final edition of Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup. Welcome to Del Mar. I'm Todd Schrupp for America's Horse Racing Network, TVG. When the inaugural Breeders' Cup took place in 1984, it was NBC who would broadcast it. Dick Enberg, a Hall of Fame broadcaster, was going to be part of the broadcast team. He asked for one man in particular to be his behind-the-scenes guy to get him all his notes information. That man was Dan Smith. Last night at the National Turf Riders and Broadcasters Awards dinner, Dan Smith received their highest honor. He was introduced by Jay Hovde, another career that he helped launch. Jay told an interesting story of when Dan was at Santa Anita. He had his 6-year-old son, and coming to town was Damascus for Frank Whiteley Jr. He went to the backside with his son, and he asked Mr. Whiteley, could my son meet Damascus? He was allowed that privilege. And Dan would recall later, I wanted to make sure that the first horse that my son ever touched was a great one. And that describes the Breeders' Cup. We are here to touch and see greatness. Joining me here on our set is Caton Bradar, as well as Simon Bray. And that's the thing is, while we do these shows, we're fans.
All of us are fans every moment. And, you know, when we get the opportunity to just for an instant connect with that type of pivotal moment in someone's life, in a horse's career, those are the things that dreams are made of. And that is the stuff that the Breeders' Cup is made of from the very moment also at that dinner was Jay Robbins, Jay and Sandy Robbins. We took a moment to talk, and I thought of Tisnow and those moments, back-to-back classic moments that live on, and what that meant to the Robbins and what that meant to all of us as race fans. And those are the things that the Breeders' Cup has meant to so many people, and every year we are treated to those that build in perpetuity.
Life-changing moment if you're in this sport, and it's similar to, you know, winning a golf major, a tennis major. If you win it and you never win another race or another tournament, it doesn't matter. It's gone down in history. You're a major winner, a classic winner, and that's the case here with the Breeders' Cups. These are life-changing races, and they can launch and make careers.
Well, we are looking forward to bringing you all the workouts that still remain and the preparations on the main track and on the turf here at Del Mar. 2 championship days of racing upon us tomorrow, Friday, and then Saturday. And out on the track is Hidden Connection.
Hidden Connection is maybe the best horse that we don't talk very much about, right? As she's kind of in the shadow of Echo Zulu. The Juvenile Fillies as a whole is absolutely stacked. What it lacks in numbers, it more than makes up for in quality, as I think you can make a solid case for half the contenders in the field who come off of dynamic performances, Hidden Connection among them. And in watching her train, she's the real deal. She's won around 2 turns. She did it in dramatic fashion. She's a beautiful filly as far as how she's been training and how she has progressed into this. She's trained by a conditioner who has Breeders' Cup experience and success in Brett Calhoun. And Simon, she strikes me as a very mature individual who has that nice balance between speed but the ability to handle herself around 2 turns.
Yeah, I mean, obviously she's got some development ahead of her, but at this time of the year, she has got all the credentials to get a race like this won, looking at her physically and mentally here. You know, sometimes it takes horses a little longer to get to that point. Not with her. She looks like she's sitting on go. Nice gallop here. And as you mentioned, I mean, you look at Echo Zulu, Hidden Connection, Juju's map. When you just glance down at the form, they're all very similar. Dominating blowout wins, most of them 2 or 3 in their last 3 starts, and all around 2 turns. So I think this is going to be an interesting race. Someone's got to give between those 3.
And Ray Lou Gutierrez, what a moment for him. Kate, and you had a chance to talk to this young up-and-coming jockey about this opportunity with Hidden Connection. He doesn't seem like a jockey who will get rattled by the moment.
No, and first-time Breeders' Cup riders have a very good success rate. I would say, too, that Brett Calhoun mentioned that though it is always tempting at times to go to a more experienced or proven commodity in the Breeders' Cup, that there is an advantage to maybe having someone who not only has familiarity with the horse, but has a devil-may-care attitude that doesn't get fazed by the idea that this is the big stage. They're going to go out there and they're going to ride their horse.
Yep.
Hidden Connection and the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, part of Future Stars Friday. So Friday, the focus on the 2-year-olds with 5 Breeders' Cup Championship races as part of a 10-race card. And then Saturday, 9 Breeders' Cup Championship races as part of a 12-race card. As part of our show this morning, we are going to welcome on to the... Who's giving up their spot, by the way? Bobby Flay.
Who do you think?
Kate, I'd be happy to step out.
I didn't have a shot.
All right, it has to be someone really important for us to ask Kate to give up her chair. Bobby Flay is going to be here, celebrity chef, but he's also owner, breeder, and has competed at the highest level in the sport. We'll welcome him to our set a little bit later on in the show. But Simon, for those who are not familiar, where have you been? This is quite a resume that Bobby Flay has built up in the culinary world as well as the thoroughbred world.
Yeah, I mean, look, most people know him as pretty much he is the Food Network. I mean, all of his shows are on that. But he has a great resume in the horse racing world as well. A lot of success here. He's had wins at the Breeders' Cup. And as you can see there, owner, executive chef for several restaurants, including his new restaurant. He'll probably touch on that a little bit. Amalfi in Las Vegas, Bobby's Burger Palace. And, of course, this year, a couple of starters in the Breeders' Cup, Pizza Bianchi and Caravel. So, you know, he's extremely talented, Kate. We've got to swap out like with like. That's what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Okay, you saved yourself. You know what is fun to talk to him, though, is as much as I enjoy watching him and all things food-related, I do love not only the passion for racing that he has, but for bloodlines and for breeding.
Yes.
And that is something that is a big passion for him.
Okay, we're going to get back out into the field. We've got full team coverage here on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup, and we start with Joaquin Jaime.
And Todd, over the past week or so, we have told you some great stories on a lot of these Breeders' Cup contenders that are going to be competing here on Friday and Saturday. And coming up later on in the show, we're going to tell you one more. Trainer Peter Miller, he conditions Mo Forza in the Breeders' Cup Mile. He knew Barry Abrams for about 30 years, but unfortunately it was just over about a year ago in which Barry Abrams passed away. He started in the standardbred game, but he was also a longtime owner, trainer, and breeder right here in Southern California. And Barry's legacy lives on through the horse that he bred in Mo Forza, who is going to be competing in the Breeders' Cup Mile. We'll have much more on that story a little bit later on in the show, but right now we check in with Scott and Rishi.
Joaquin, it's another day, and right on cue, the boys in blue are right back out here with their crew for Charlie Appleby. But we're going to be focusing on, in a little bit, one of the up-and-coming fresh faces in UK racing.
Yeah, there's a young name of a trainer called George Bowie, who has made a huge reputation for himself as a trainer of 2-year-olds this season. He had an incredible strike rate earlier in the season. He was operating at just under 50% strike rate with winners to runners ratio, which is unheard of, really. And he kept it up, maintained it for a long spell, and he's got runners here. Cachet would probably be his most significant runner in the Juvenile Turf for fillies. I look forward to catching up with him because he is a superstar of the future, Scott.
Yeah, Mike, stay tuned for that. But for you went from a John Deere tractor, which, by the way, you look good in green and gold, to Brian Malarkey. What do you have in store for us here on this final day of the Breeders' Cup Breakfast Show at Del Mar?
Scotty purple would be the operative color. That's a look at the Paddock Tower. Every morning when we come here in the dark, we're greeted by that purple glow as all things Breeders' Cup are getting ready. And Todd, you opened the show by saying we're fans of the sport. We're also fans of television. And we've taken a good look behind the scenes at the horses getting ready, but the television network's getting ready as well. You can see to my left here, here's one camera, here's two cameras, all the way down, a dozen cameras. One of the best innovations we've had in recent years at the Breeders' Cup is the contender cam. These were all set up yesterday. We have a ton of technological advances in this sport. We've come a long way since the days of standard definition coverage of horse racing. Of course, the contender cam available on the Breeders' Cup app. You can watch a single horse. I like Mo Forza, to link it into what Joaquin was saying. You can just watch Mo Forza from the paddock out onto the track in the race. They've got it all lined up, and we're going to be bringing all of that to you on the Breeders' Cup app, and the coverage on TVG and NBC Sports will be unlike any other Breeders' Cup you have ever seen. So, Michelle, as you are a fan of the horses, we are all fans of all this great coverage. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to show you, we've got the drone landing pad all the way at the end.
I'm glad they're not handing me the controls to the drone, Mike. I don't know how that would be. I'm over here in my favorite spot, the paddock, even though the major heavy lifting is done on the track and we're not going to see any more workers as we're just 2 days out from the Breeders' Cup. The fine screws are still to be tuned here. So lots of horses already coming through this morning. We saw Gufo. He's been pretty regular here in the paddock. We also saw Vertiginous in here standing again. It's so cute when she comes over here. She has an entire social media team behind her. She brings about 10 people to the paddock when she comes alongside the pony. They all have cameras, phones, and iPads out, and they make her stand up and prick her ears, and they give her pets, and it's a really cute little procession that goes on the last couple of mornings that we've been able to see. She's been perfect and poised in here, so it's been fun watching a 2-year-old filly and how well she handles having the masses around her. There's actually the Charlie Appleby horses coming in here right now, so we'll be bringing you information from the paddock. Also, we're going to quiz some connections at how good their Breeders' Cup knowledge really is, so we'll be roving the backside doing that. Looking forward to a lot of fun. Christina, what do you have in store?
Michelle, speaking of processions, I'm right here towards the front side. So from where you are in the paddock, of course, owners would go to watch their horses saddled up, tacked up for the racing experience. They'll come here to the front side, and I wanted to focus a little bit today on the ownership experience. We've showed you the breakfast marquee. We've showed you some of the other merchandise opportunities. Everyone has those hats if you walk around town wearing your Breeders' Cup hat with your horse's name emblazoned on it out there. This is the owner viewing area. So when horses are saddled and out on track to warm up, the owners are brought right here so they can have a nice front row seat for their racing experience. Todd, Simon, and Kate, as we know, the race itself, obviously that's what we're all building up to. It's that few minutes of excitement and adrenaline and nerves, but it's about this entire week. It's about the build-up, and it's about being part of championship weekend.
Yeah, the crowds in the morning have gotten bigger and bigger, and certainly reaching a crescendo here this morning. But we're taking you beyond the velvet rope and right up front, your own front row seat to all the action. And now we look at Jackie's Warrior and the Cutter Racing Breeders' Cup Sprint.
Yeah, out for a gallop this morning here, just an easy gallop. We've followed this horse all week long, one of the few that we've focused in on our training chart segment. And Jackie's Warrior, remember, worked just an easy 3/8 on Sunday, walked on Monday, jogged Tuesday, and galloped yesterday, and galloping here this morning here. But, you know, when you're talking about sprinters, Kate, and you think of, you know, high-energy, up-tempo, aggressive horses, he's a very kind horse to gallop for a 3-year-old.
He really is. Coming off 3 consecutive wins, and all of them in gate-to-wire fashion with his blazing speed out of the starting gate. You would think that you would see more of that in the mornings, but that's not his demeanor. He sometimes gets just a little bit more on the muscle in the afternoon when he races, but in the morning, he's a pretty professional individual, and it's kind of been like that as long as I've been watching him train. You can see that he has a nice connection with the rider as far as the bit and the reins and his head position. He doesn't really fight with the rider at all, kind of does what he's asked. Same in his works. It's not as if he is speed crazy, although he can naturally go very quickly if he is asked to do so, but a controllable type of speed, which is a real asset when you're talking about sprinters. And I think you see that he goes as fast as he needs to go to put himself in position in his races, but he is still able to run horses off their feet. And the Alan Jerkins at Saratoga going 7 furlongs, he wasn't necessarily smack on the lead. He actually was able to let someone get in front of him and still was able to fight it out and win at the end. But you know, inside post position, I think you're going to see him, unless something were to happen at the break, on the front.
Yeah, no question. It's not reckless speed. He's just a fast racehorse, controlled. And I think you're going to see a lot of these horses. Talking with Joaquin, he made the rounds earlier before we came up. A lot of these horses going to the gate this morning. Essential Quality scheduled to go to the gate. Nick's Go is not going to the gate. And a lot of these big contenders will be putting their final touches on and going to the gate. I think Jackie's Warrior was planned to go before his gallop or maybe after his gallop. So we'll keep an eye on that. But, yeah, a lot of these horses are going to be standing in the gate this morning before they gallop.
Had a chance to talk to Wayne Catalano, who has Aloha West, who rates a long shot in there, has looked very good in the morning, but is going to need some help up front. They're just going to have to go a ridiculous pace for anyone to close. But watching this track yesterday on opening day of the Bing Crosby season, it's a very fair racetrack. I know a lot changes between now and when they have the race Saturday, but is there a possibility there's some type of pace meltdown in your mind?
I don't think so. I just see, look, we've got a few on paper short price favorites. I think there's a couple of them that are beatable. He's one that I don't think is beatable. I think Jackie's Warrior looks a standout to me in that race.
There's really only one other horse that has a little bit of speed, and that's the 8 Special Reserve. The rest of them are kind of in that middle level that don't look quite as quick.
Michelle?
Todd, I'm standing right next to Charlie Appleby. I told you we're going to quiz some of the connections. Charlie, can you tell me a trainer that won their first Grade 1 in a Breeders' Cup race?
That was myself.
Good job.
It'd be easy.
I told you it'd be easy. He wanted me to prep him. Tell me the horse. Tell me the year. Tell me the track.
Outstrip, 2013. So, no, it was great. Obviously at Santa Anita today, it was an amazing experience to firstly have our first Grade 1 winner, but in the setting of Santa Anita, as you know, it's a very surreal spot to have been there and to stand there with the whole team. It was great. It's something I'll never forget, that's for sure.
Well, Charlie, you're my first one today. I'm so glad that you got it right. We're off to a flying start with this quiz show, guys.
We're battling with him, Michelle.
That was great. Thank you.
He is one of my favorite interviews that we have all week. He always brings it, and having some fun there in the paddock despite the serious work going on. And we have preparations out on the main track right now. We're going to check in with a couple of horses out there and a couple of divisions here. And the Breeders' Cup, starting with Cachet and the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. You mentioned the work going on at the gate, Simon.
Yeah, so I think that's her just breaking from the gate maybe on the inside. It's a little hard to tell right here. This is for the Juvenile Fillies Turf, of course. And a lot of these horses, we've seen a couple this week already just pop out and go, you know, an 1/8 of a mile. And they're not really working out of the gate. They're just doing that initial jump out of the gate. to prove to the starter that they're okay and they've passed that gate test.
And for the horses like Cachet that are coming from overseas, very important for them to experience not only being in the gate and familiarizing themselves and letting the gate crew get familiar with them, but also that they experience the bell, which is a difference from our racing and their racing, so that when the bell rings, they don't stand there and listen to it or get a little shell-shocked, but they actually come out. And of course, the pace of racing here versus overseas is sometimes a little bit different, a little bit slower. So the bell just adds to that. You want to make sure that they don't lose all chance by that hesitation. But it looked like Cachet galloped right out of there, which was a nice sign. She tends to do kind of a chase mode in terms of a race. It's not from the back of the pack, but not necessarily on the front end either. Comes off a third-place finish in her most recent start.
She Dares the Devil preparing for the Longines Breeders' Cup Distaff, also at the gate this morning.
Yeah, she's just standing. So the ones that are breaking are just the European horses. They're trying to just get used to the gate, the bell we've talked about, and maybe just a step sharper for the U.S. racing. But She Dares the Devil, she doesn't need to break. You would never work a filly like this or even pop her out of the gate 2 days before a race or a day before a race of her quality. She's just going to stand to get herself accustomed to it, and I would imagine she's going to go ahead and gallop. You can see the exercise rider just lifting up the saddle there. Brad Cox touched on it yesterday. He likes to go to the gate first rather than gallop, have the horses kind of on their toes and, a little excited, and then go in the gate. Stand and then gallop.
So, Simon, there he's going to check the girth just to make sure that sometimes horses will actually puff out their air as much as possible, so you can't get the girth as snug as you'd like when they first go out, but he adjusts it again just to make sure it's tight. Also checked his irons because he probably dropped them a little bit going into the gate to make sure he can keep a leg on either side should she get a little restless before she went in the starting gate, but now to make sure he has leverage and is comfortable and poised to keep her in the right position when he gallops, he raised up his stirrup irons just a hole or two, and you'll see riders do that a lot. Walking versus galloping, they'll drop their irons down longer for walking and more light exercise versus the more strenuous galloping.
Horses sense when the rider brings their stirrups up, shortens them. They know that faster work is coming.
Exactly. Now, what I think is going to be interesting about She Dares the Devil is what happens off of the break, because she is a filly that has known success on the front end. She has enough speed to probably go for the lead, but the one time she did try to engage Latruska is the time around one turn that she ended up finishing third behind her. When she was able to defeat Latruska, she got the benefit of the edge at the break, was able to take control. Latruska was off the pace. I think the decision is going to be made depending on what happens off the break, because she is able to rate. She can sit a stalking trip, but she has enough speed to take advantage of the situation if it's needed.
The name of this event pretty much says it all, the Breeders' Cup. Yes, there's a lot that comes from it, but at the heart of it, it is the breeding farms that celebrate this day and the accomplishments. And standing by with one of those top farms and their representative, Mike Joyce.
It's actually exactly why I tried to corner Ned Toffee here, was what you just said, Todd. This is a celebration of racing by and for the breeders, essentially. And even though it's a live racing event, I always wonder, for an operation like Spendthrift, you have live action, and yet you have a breeding operation that is heavily impacted by this. So you have twofold reasons to be involved in this. And when you're watching the events unfold, how are you rooting? I mean, you're rooting for your horses clearly, but you're rooting for your stallions, you're rooting for your pedigree lines. It's a little more complex than just your average everyday race.
Well, it's a great question, and it's something I was actually just thinking about this morning, but sometimes you are a little bit torn. We've got Stormy that we own and we'll have at the farm later this year to breed in the mile, but we've also rooting for a son of Jimmy Creed in Casa Creed. So, you're always a little bit torn. I'd love to be there in the winner's circle, but we'll sure be cheering on Casa Creed. So we run into those kinds of things. We also have Following C in the sprint. We also happen to have the breeding rights in Jackie's Warrior. So we're a little conflicted in both places. You worry about running some of those horses against each other, but I think at the end of the day, if you got a good horse, you got to bring him here, and we'll be happy if either one wins.
So the theme that's kind of been going around the show today is that we're all, even though we work in this industry, we're all fans of this game. So at what point does Ned Toffee get to let go be a fan and just kind of root your horse home and forget about the business aspect?
Well, I will tell you, up at Saratoga when Got Stormy won, it was a Breeders' Cup win in your in race, and it was the same scenario. Casa Creed was in there, and I told people before the race, I really kind of hope Casa Creed gets there. That would really help Jimmy. And as soon as she crossed the finish line, I said, no, this is better. God, let's go to the winner's circle. So, you know, I remember years ago, though, when Into Mischief was first coming to stud, first had 2-year-olds, and Golden Sense and Vijack won stakes races about 45 minutes apart from each other on opposite coasts. And I was sitting with Mr. Hughes, and he said, you know what? I think I like this better. I get to root for these horses, and I don't have to pay bills on them. So you know, there's always an angle.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck in all your endeavors. I actually have a rooting interest in Casa Creed, as owner Lee Einsiedler pledged 25% of his earnings in the Breeders' Cup to Permanently Disabled Jockeys Fund. So I'm with you for the Jimmy Creed line in this one.
Lee's a great guy. I've really enjoyed getting to know him. He's also got High Oak, who unfortunately got sidelined this year, but hopefully will be back on the Derby Trail this spring. But a son of Gormley. So we wish Lee all the luck in the world.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you,
Scott.
Mike, back here at the Gap with Rishi and the Chutes. And Rish, we talked at length about Twilight Jet and the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. And one of the great things about this sport is tinkering and coming up with ideas and trying to improve a horse. And that's something that Michael O'Callaghan has done with this bell that we've discussed.
Yeah, Michael O'Callaghan decided that the best way to get Twilight Jet prepared for coming out the gates, perhaps a little bit better than he has done in order to match up with the domestic horses, was to purchase a fire bell. Tinker, as you say, by attaching it to what appears to be a car battery in order to recreate the noise that Twilight Jet's going to have when he comes out the gates. So then they attach that said fire bell to the starting stalls at a racecourse in Ireland, put Twilight Jet through the gates, count down, press the button, Twilight Jet comes out and has that experience before he gets here. To be fair, it's a bit rudimentary, but it's really important that he has this experience because it has caught horses out before when we've had horses that have been well fancied, and especially being down on the rail, Scott, you've told me as well as having watched racing here, that you might be drawn on the rail over 5 furlongs and people think on the face of it that's a really good draw, but ultimately you miss the kick, the game is over.
Twilight Jet, Michael O'Callaghan, it's reminiscent, Todd, of the Seabiscuit movie, is it not? When they went out in the dark to get him ready for the match race with War Admiral, the bell, that was key to it. Maybe the bell here in 2021 will be key for Twilight Jet in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint tomorrow.
It's identical to that, and they actually did get a bell in the movie from a local fire station and used that. So hopefully that art and life are definitely imitating each other, and they work out at the Breeders' Cup. But that's what I love about it. Sometimes trainers, there is no manual there. You just have to kind of create.
It's a game of details, right? I mean, the smallest things can make the biggest differences.
Look, I mean, you can train this horse for a year, right? Get him ready for the Breeders' Cup. You come over here, you're in stall 1, and you break a step slow, and you miss the break, lose the race, and the rider come back and said, "Oh, he was frightened of the bell." That's what it was. I mean, and you would be kicking yourself. They're just dotting I's and crossing T's.
Out onto the turf course now, and here's a look at Tiona.
I like this filly. This is a filly in the in the Breeders' Cup Turf. I think it's going to run a big race. They're electing to come here for Roger Varian because of the extra distance, 1.5 miles, and I think she's really improving at the right time. The question was asked yesterday whether she could, go in the filly mare turf, but they elected to come here for the distance. They elected to come to the turf for the distance. So I think she's got a big shot. She's trained by a sharp trainer in Roger Varian. She won the Prix Vermeil back in September. She's had a long time. She skipped ARC weekend, so she comes in as a fresh horse. Lost her way in the middle of the summer, but she's coming into form now.
It's kind of interesting. If you go back and retrace how Tarnawa came into last year's Breeders' Cup Turf, Tiona's path is very similar.
Yep, same thing. She came in off a win in the Prix Vermeil. She went to the ARC weekend for the Prix de l'Opera. Tiona's skipped that and coming in here.
Well, and not only does she get more time as a result of it, but she was able to avoid running on that very boggy ground, which it could take a lot out of a horse. But in this case, you can see by her demeanor out on the course that she is very fresh.
Yep.
Tiona preparing for the Longines Breeders' Cup Turf. Hopefully you're prepared with your TVG account to play the Breeders' Cup, 2 championship days of racing, Friday and Saturday. And to help get you ready, TVG right now is offering fee-free deposits. We've been doing this since Monday. Today is the final day, so take advantage by opting in at tvg.com or through the TVG mobile app. Also, as a TVG account holder, you get this advantage, the money back special. It's going to be offered on all the races on both Breeders' Cup days, November 5th and November 6th. TVG, the official wagering partner of the Breeders' Cup. Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup returns in just a moment.
Upgrade your betting experience. The TVG app now includes more features. Track bets with live updates and view potential winnings. Got knocked out of your multi-race wager? Choose Create Bet to play the remaining selections. Alive in the last leg? View personalized wheel pace and see approximate payouts before results are posted. Plus, easily access TVG's improved handicapping tools, including TVG Insights, number fire picks, and odds trend. Bet with the latest features now.
There's something about when you get up early, prep the plane, and you take off, and you get that first light of day. And the air is crystal smooth. You can see forever. You have to have the right aircraft for the right flight with the right crew up front. Only NetJets can do this. The flight dissolves into the background. It should just be the here and now.
Breeders' Cup apparel and products represent everything the Breeders' Cup stands for. Handcrafted, expertly designed. Own a piece of the events that defines an industry. Available at breederscupshop.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup continues here on TVG with Joe Moran from My Racehorse, who's going to have a couple horses participating in the Breeders' Cup this year. And, Joe, how are all your partners holding together their excitement knowing they're participating in the Breeders' Cup with 2 horses this year?
Yeah, it's been quite the ride. And really, 2 months ago, we were sitting there saying, you know, we were wondering if we were even going to have one. So to have 2 now in this is pretty incredible. 2 competitive races, but it sure is fun being at Del Mar. A lot of local partners where My Racehorse really started. It's quite incredible to have 2 in the Breeders' Cup.
I feel like you've seen you a little bit more active in the sales over the past couple months. Is that because a lot of the partners maybe want to start competing at the higher levels now?
Yeah, I just think the excitement overall the past few years, the success, the ups and downs in the learning process of the horse racing business, people grew to the attraction of that, and they wanted to be part of it. And anytime you can compete at the highest levels, it gets people just more engaged.
How much of that is because of Authentic winning the Kentucky Derby, and maybe other partners who weren't involved in that said, I want to do that. That's what I want to be involved in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The partners that were involved in that, you got hooked right from there. And I think the other half of that is the fear of missing out, right? You don't want to miss out on that next Authentic, and that was for sure the catalyst of us.
All right, so let's start with the filly here. You have Got Stormy in the Breeders' Cup Mile. She was second in this race in 2019. In the Turf Sprint last year, why the decision to go back to the mile for her this year?
Yeah, I just ultimately think one distance, getting her back to the mile with a 5/8 sprint here. And ultimately, she's doing good. Coming off that 4-star Dave win, 2 back, she has an affinity for the firm turf courses, and ultimately we always leave it up to trainer Mark Cassidy to make those decisions. And just a big thank you to Spencer Farm. I mean, it was pretty incredible for us to get involved with this, so a big thank you to their team as well.
Was there any excuse for her last race at Kentucky Downs?
I just don't think the surface really fit her. She's, Mark's been very open about, there's certain courses that fit her, certain courses that don't. Going into the 4-star Dave, you could tell he knew she was ready. That final work going into it, she was ready. Coming off a win last year at Kentucky Downs, we knew we had to take a shot. It was against the boys, sprinting, but I think everyone thinks to believe that she's going to be ready back on the firm turf course here.
And then in the Breeders' Cup Filly Mayor Turf, you drew the rail with Going to Vegas. Was this an easy decision to supplement her?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we got into this filly, she was just graded stakes place, not a graded stakes winner, not even an allowance winner at the time. To really see what trainer Richard Baltus has done with her, it's incredible, and she's as sharp as can be. She deserves the opportunity. Everyone was all in to do it. So it's going to be interesting if she can take this. This is the true test, so we'll see if she's up for it.
Well, Joe, always appreciate the time. Good luck to you and all the partners during the Breeders' Cup this year here at Del Mar.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Joaquin.
All right, guys, that is Joe Moran from My Racehorse. 2 Breeders' Cup horses here at Del Mar for them. They have Got Stormy and Going to Vegas. Stay with us. Much more coming up when we return here on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup.
With the TVG app, get expert analysis and free handicapping advice from here. Place a bet in just a few simple taps from here. And even stream races live from here. Access, analysis, and action from anywhere. Download today and get a $300 risk-free bet on the Breeders' Cup. TVG. Onto the app, off to the races.
Here in Pennsylvania, we're proud of our breeding program, the best in North America. But we're also proud to be leaders in this industry. The PA Horse Breeders Association is funding cutting-edge research at Penn Vet into equine health and safety. And we endorse the SAFE Act to help protect the most vulnerable horses. Plus, we're pleased to support the aftercare programs set up by our horsemen's groups. Just a few of the reasons why you should join us in Pennsylvania, the premier place to breed and race.
Anybody going? 70, getting 50, 75, 850, 75, 175, 175, 150, 175. Crowd, 850,000. Thank you.
Volatile, just like that. In front by 3, now by 4. And the time, 107.57.
As they pass the 16th hole, Volatile, victorious in the Vanderbilt. 1 by 2 lengths.
Crowd, 850,000. Thank you.
You know this type of place. You might even work in one. Hot, sweaty, uncomfortable. But it doesn't have to be that way. Big-ass fans keep you cool, comfortable, and productive in any type of space. So no matter where you are, think big. Get cool.
From a time when only 26 trainers competed in the first Thoroughbred makeover, 2020 to 2021 has become a huge turnout. Over 1,000 horses were in training during the time period. 400 of them actually checked in Lexington, Kentucky to be a part of the Thoroughbred makeover. Everywhere from ages 3 to 14, showing off their prowess. 46 states and 4 provinces represented among the accepted trainers to that. And it was just great to get to see the majesty of the Thoroughbred. We get to watch them on track racing, but it has just been fantastic to watch them in their second and sometimes even in their third careers as well. Looking out here even, we see some of the old racehorses turned into pony horses. Lava Man comes to mind. We've also checked in this week with Eddie Haskell and Liam the Charmer, both of whom competed in the Breeders' Cup and are here today working as pony horses. So it's a great way to honor the Thoroughbred, and it's a pleasure to get to see all the horses that have shown up in the Thoroughbred Makeover program.
I'm here outside the paddock with Del Mar's Joe Harper. Joe, I was watching you watch the horses. Are you feeling like a fan right now?
I certainly am. I'm a nervous fan, but yeah, it's amazing to see all these incredible horses. And this paddock is so full, and flowers are looking good. The place is looking great, and we're just really happy here.
What is the day-to-day like for you and your team at this point as we're a day ahead of championship weekend?
These are one of these great days where it's too late. You know, if you haven't thought of it by now, it's probably not going to get done. But the crews have been great. Breeders' Cup folks and ours have just been meshing great, and it's been a fun time to set this thing up. You know, it's amazing, and you know, fortunately we had these 2 days to make sure everything works before the big one, so I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
You have the experience of the Breeders' Cup here in 2017. How much does that help you as you prepare to host again?
The best thing about that as far as help was we know what we got, and we were going into pretty blind in 17. We didn't know whether the Breeders' Cup people were going to tell us what to do and things like that. So now that we have this very sympathetic relationship, we knew before everybody got here that we knew what we needed to do and who to talk to get it done and stuff. So it's been much easier, I think, this year.
Have you had a chance to handicap, look at the horses? Any horses that you're going to be wagering on?
My wife, as we speak, is at home with the racing form, and I'm sure she'll feed me the information. Actually, it's one of your big TVG fans, so yeah, no, it's you know, it's hard. There's so many good horses, and when these foreign horses come in that haven't raced against the other horses, you kind of don't know, but hopefully there'll be some long shots, and we'll have them.
It's such a treat. Thanks for all your hard work.
Oh, thank you guys. You're terrific.
Joe Harper of Del Mar. They have been working hard to prepare for the 2 best days in racing, but as I said, we're all fans. We're all just here to enjoy the moment now.
TVG is celebrating its 22nd year on air as America's horse racing network, and it is safe to say we would not have made it these 22 years without the initial support of Del Mar. They are one of our founding partners, and that relationship with Joe Harper and his entire staff has meant the world to all of us. We wish them the best as they get to host the Breeders' Cup World Thoroughbred Championships for the second time. As part of the Breeders' Cup, it's the BCBC, the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge. You have an opportunity to prove that you are one of the best horse players in the world. And for live bankroll tournament players, this is the event they want to win. They've come from all over the country, although you can play with TVG as well as on site here at Del Mar or other satellite locations. It's a $10,000 buy-in, $7,500 of which goes to your betting bankroll and $2,500 to the prize pool. What that means based on 400 participants, with that $2,500, that's $1 million cash prize pool. You still have an opportunity to sign up at breederscup.com/BCBC. When we come back, Mo Forza, one of the horses set for the FanDuel Breeders' Cup Mile presented by the PDJF. But there's so much more to Mo's story. We'll tell you that when we return on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup.
There's something about when you get up early, prep the plane, and you take off, and you get that first light of day, and the air is crystal smooth. You can see forever. You have to have the right aircraft for the right flight with the right crew up front. Only NetJets can do this. The flight dissolves into the background. It should just be the here and now.
Consistently versatile, with 22 Grade 1 winners on every surface, from 6 furlongs to 1 1/4 miles, all over the world.
Spectacular return for Charlatan in the run-happy Malibu Stakes.
But it's Nashville. Nashville under no stress whatsoever, winning it.
Lexingtonian comes back on the inside to win it.
All purpose, all places, all power. Spicetown.
Turn your love of racing into savings with equine discounts through the NTRA. Purchase through equine discounts and receive great savings on well-known brands like John Deere, Sherwin-Williams, Big Ass Fans, Farmers Insurance, and Office Depot. Join thousands of other equine members and support companies that give back to the sport we all love. Call 866-678-4289 or visit equinediscounts.com to start saving today.
This gleaming chestnut wins by 6 on debut, with the promise of bigger things to come. Justify, he's on a dizzying ascent to greatness.
What do you do when the experts compare you to legends?
Justify has won the Kentucky Derby! He's unstoppable! He won the Preakness! Justify is the 13th Triple Crown winner!
You justify it.
It's a length and a half with a furlong to run. Mo Forza with plenty of work to do. Hit the road on the far outside. 16th pole, smooth like straight. Mo Forza, hit the road, are coming. Here's Mo Forza surging at the right time, and Mo Forza gets up. Under a very confident Flavien Prat. Photo for second between smooth like straight and hit the road.
Mo Forza has already had a year to remember for his connections, but it is one person that they remember in particular that guides them from race to race. And the Breeders' Cup is something that will weigh heavy on their mind with someone who is not here. Here's the story of Mo Forza.
Mo Forza is just a super cool horse. He's the coolest horse in the room. From the first time he came in, he had a style and a kind of a class to him that not all horses have. He's just a really knock your eyes out kind of beautiful horse. I knew Barry for 30 years, and Barry, besides being an excellent trainer and horseman, he was a better person. And to do what he did to breed a horse of this quality and to have the horse turn out to be a champion, you know, what else is there?
He just said to himself, this is it. Uncle Mo, unusual heat. And here we are. We became good friends, and the fact that he allowed me to be part of this horse, I mean, there's not much more I could say. It's just a true blessing for me.
And Mo Forza will win going away. Mo Forza and Paco Lopez to take the Hollywood Derby.
Barry Abrams owns this horse. This one's for you, Barry.
And it's Mo Forza. The winning streak continues.
Mo Forza comes up the rail and he's pulling away. Oh, he came back strong. Mo Forza. Wow.
It was great to see this horse give Barry so much joy. Barry passed shortly after winning, I believe, the City of Hope. So I think, you know, the last week of his life was gratifying.
As he strolls on by, another outstanding performance from Mo Forza.
I called Barry right after the race, and he was so excited and happy. But I know he's with us in spirit, no doubt about it. And he'll be with us on Saturday rooting for Mo.
We all miss Barry so much. He really was a character and a 100% racetracker. He was a racetracker through and through, from the standard breds to the thoroughbreds. And, you know, hopefully he's shining down on us, smiling on Saturday.
A true racetracker and a successful trainer in his own right, but it was his belief, an unusual heat, that he could be a stallion that really changed California racing, Simon.
Yeah, he made him one of the predominant sires out here in Southern California. One thing about Barry, he was never shy to run, right? He filled up the entry box. He had some unconventional routines and systems, the way he did his business, but he got the results, and he had some big success with some horses that he claimed at cheap price and turned them into stakes winners.
Christina Blacker is with trainer Peter Miller.
Pete, we just showed the story on Mo Forza again. How's the team doing? How is Diane doing? And Onofrio and everybody behind this horse?
Everyone's doing well. They're very excited, as our team is as well. And just looking forward to Saturday. The horse is doing well. So, just need some luck.
For the owners, of course, it's about the race, but also how much is it about the build-up, the excitement, just sort of thinking in your mind what it would be like if you win, all of that?
Oh, that's a big part of it. We all like the parties and the draw and the action and excitement of it all. So it all in the dream. So. Everyone's enjoying the experience, and the Breeders' Cup is it's a lot of fun.
Because of the emotions when this horse wins, does it feel a little bit overpowering, a little out of body?
It does. It's a little much, with Barry, looking down from above, and what it means to Diane and her and Barry's kids and grandkids. So yeah, it's a little much, but it's great.
Tactically, it's going to be a much different experience for Mo Forza. We've had some short fields in these races out here. Now you're going up, and there's going to be 13 others lining in the gate. Do you think that's a good or a bad thing for him?
I don't think it really matters. He's tactical, and there looks like there's plenty of pace in the race. So I think we'll be sitting in a good position. We have a nice draw. And Flavian's the hottest rider in the world. So yeah, I feel good about where we're at.
Good luck. Enjoy the experience.
Thank you so much.
Mo Forza, he's an easy horse to root for in the FanDuel Mile.
And look, going to be a price despite having this wonderful year when you go against the best in the world. That's what people love about the Breeders' Cup. He's been a favorite most all along out here in California, and now you get to play him at a price. But does he have a realistic chance in your mind?
I think he gets a lot tougher, obviously. He's coming out of a regional environment where he's been beating up on the same horses, Smooth Like Straight, Hit the Road. They're in about a half a length apart. My opinion, use one, you use all three because they're that close. But nonetheless, racing has this funny way of making those stories actually happen, where it would be a Hollywood script, you rip it up, it's too fake, it's too phony. I mean, it just would be the end of a great season for Mo Forza and the story behind it if he could pull it off.
And his resume to date, 8 wins from 14 starts, 7-time stakes winner, including the Hollywood Derby. Remember, that is held right here at Del Mar, so he has all the home course advantages, as it were. Todd Pletcher is one of the most dominant trainers in the world of thoroughbred racing, and the goal is always the Breeders' Cup, and he's reached that goal once again this year. He's with Michelle Yu.
Thank you. From one Todd to the other. How do you feel about your Breeders' Cup knowledge?
I would say I'm not great at trivia, but...
All right, I'm going to give you one. Who has had the most Breeders' Cup starters in a single event?
Could be me.
It is you. Do you know how many?
I think it was 16.
17.
17? Yeah, I know it was 0 for 17.
Well, I wasn't going to go there, but you have had several wins. You have a favorite?
Well, I think the first one with the Shadow, that one was special, and then we ended up winning with Speightstown on the same day, so that was probably my favorite.
Thanks, Todd. Good job.
Thanks.
These guys are doing great at these. I got to get harder questions, maybe.
Yeah, and his breakthrough happened to be in his home state of Texas when they hosted the Breeders' Cup at Lone Star. It's fascinating to me that, trainers like Todd Pletcher can have a consistent year, and then breaking through at the Breeders' Cup is a tough thing to do. Remember that with Bobby Frankel, who's one of the greatest trainers we've ever had in American racing. He was over at the Breeders' Cup forever. Then once he broke through, then it was consistent every year.
I mean, you think of Christophe Clement hasn't won a Breeders' Cup race. Hard to believe, right? Kenny McPeak hasn't won a Breeders' Cup race. I mean, these are top-class trainers in North America, and they've yet to win on the big stage.
You get so focused on the streaks without the wins, and then once they win, you forget about it, and they start rattling off victories, and before you know it, they've won more than than just about anybody else. But he's being humble about the trivia. He's got a mind that retains just about everything.
Yeah. He's also got a wickedly great sense of humor, and when he flashes it, it's a lot of fun. Happy to have Todd Pletcher back at the Breeders' Cup. Let's check in with Rishi Prasad.
Yes, I've just been joined by William Buick, who's had the most amazing season back home. Won just about every big race. Well, but of course the Breeders' Cup in your target now, and you've got a tremendous book of rides. Obviously the 3 Godolphin horses. You've also got last year's Breeders' Cup filly and mare turf winner, Audaria. But let's talk about the Godolphin horses first of all. Modern Games over Alba, is that the right choice?
I mean, we'll see. Obviously, it wasn't an easy decision. The two very nice 2-year-olds, and obviously Alba is, he's a Grade 1 winner, albeit that being in Woodbine. But Modern Games obviously won the Tattersalls at Newmarket at Group 3, and he won well. So look, it wasn't a lot between them. I went with Modern Games, and obviously, Frankie's riding Alba. We both got good draws, so I think it's a case of who gets the best run. I would suspect.
Charlie's not made your life easy for you, has he? He's put 2 in every race, and both horses in every race have good chances. Obviously, Modern Games and Alba we discussed, and then Space Blues and Master of the Seas. Space Blues, obviously, is the old professional. He's got a lot of class. I guess Master of the Seas is that still unknown quality, and we don't know how he might react to this sort of conditions. But do you feel that Space Blues is perhaps one of your best rides of the meeting?
Yeah, I think he's definitely a good ride, and he's coming off the back of a very good season, Space Blues, and obviously, when he won the 4A in Longchamp, he was very impressive. It's going to be very different ground here on Saturday, obviously, but I'm hoping the mile will suit him. He's got a good draw. Master of the Seas has got a good drawn one as well, and at the end of the day, he was only narrowly beaten the Guineas, so he is an unknown quantity, and I think I would suspect that the ground and the way the race will be run will bring out the best in Master of the Seas over here. So it's a fascinating race. It's never an easy race, but obviously, I'm very happy with Space Blues for sure.
Yeah, of course, they go in the mile on the turf, and then the Breeders' Cup turf. You've got Walton Street with James aboard, and then you're aboard Yabir, a horse who I was just hearing about the other day. Charlie was saying you had him up there with Adeya and Hurricane Lane in terms of quality earlier in the season.
Yeah, I suppose, in the spring, you're trying to get a pecking order for your potential classic horses, and he was, of course, he was in the mix, and he again, he's had a very good season. He never ever runs a bad race, and he was quite impressive when he won the race at Belmont last time. He does like to come from behind, and this track is different to Belmont, so that might not be as easy. And I think it's a strong turf. It's a strong race this year. Obviously, you have to respect Tarnawa, and there's a couple of Americans. I think Chad Brown's horses. I think they're quite strong on that. So it's a good race, and between the Europeans and the American horses, it's going to be tough.
And last thing, Audaria, you're back aboard her. She ran a cracking race at Royal Ascot behind Love. If she produces that sort of form and the form that she showed when she won at Keeneland, she could win it again. Yeah.
I mean, I'm delighted to get back on her, and she is drawn 12 or 12, so that's not ideal, but she is a closer. She does like to come from behind, so if the pace is on, that will help her. She got a beautiful run through in the race last year, and again, she got bogged down in the ground in the Opera on our weekend. So back on this better surface will help her. And I think it's an open race. I think you can make a case for a number of fillies in that race. I don't think there's really a standout. So obviously, Love, if she comes back to her old form, she's the best filly in the race. But it's interesting. I'm delighted to get back on her either way.
It's great to have you here, Will. Thank you so much for chatting to us. This guy has won just about everything this year, but the Breeders' Cup might just be coming his way as well. Cheers, Will.
Well, the horse he referenced first, Space Blues, you have to start there, and the FanDuel Mile presented by PDJF.
I think if you talk to any Europeans, I had a good chat with some European connections last night, and they're like, Charlie Appleby's got 2 great chances. I believe Space Blues, he thinks, and everybody thinks that, but Modern Games as well in the Juvenile Turf. Those are the 2 key contenders for Godolphin.
The knowledge that you're gaining here on Backfest at the Breeders' Cup, you can turn into money. And you can do it by becoming a TVG account holder. If you're not a TVG account holder, we want to change that. And to celebrate the Breeders' Cup as the official wagering partner of the Breeders' Cup, TVG is offering a risk-free bet to new customers up to $300 on your first single horse win wager. All the details are at tvg.com/best bet. Or you can walk up to the screen right now and scan that QR code. It will take you to this very special offer during the Breeders' Cup. TVG, the official wagering partner of racing's championship days, the Breeders' Cup. They've got a renovation break out on the main track, but we will return with more action on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup right after this.
Friday and Saturday, get cash back for finishing second or third on all Del Mar races. We'll refund your first win wager up to $10. Breeders' Cup Friday and Saturday. Bet to win to get money back for finishing second or third. Opt in at tvg.com/promos.
Upgrade your betting experience. The TVG app now includes more features. Track bets with live updates and view potential winnings. Got knocked out of your multi-race wager? Choose Create Bet to play the remaining selections. Alive in the last leg? View personalized wheel pace and see approximate payouts before results are posted. Plus, easily access TVG's improved handicapping tools, including TVG Insights, number fire picks, and odds trend. Bet with the latest features now.
Friday, all the action begins on the TVG Breeders' Cup Players Show. In-depth analysis and handicapping angles of the 14-race two-day Breeders' Cup card. The Future Stars Friday edition of the TVG Breeders' Cup Players Show. Noon Eastern, 9 Pacific.
This son of Danzig ranks among the world's elite sires, with Grade 1 winners on dirt and turf, and star performers both at home and abroad. Warfront's success as an international super sire is unmatched. Recent stars include War of Will, a classic winner on dirt and Grade 1 winner on turf, Group 1 winner Homesman, and these standout performers. In the auction ring, his progeny continued to command top dollar. Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Well, alongside me here at the backstraight at Del Mar is George Bowie. Get used to this face because this is a superstar of the future. I said it earlier on, this guy, George, you had a tremendous season. We talked about earlier on your 2-year-olds and how well you've done with them. You've brought a couple over here. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your success in the UK so far this season.
It was our second full season training, which has been great. I think we've had 81 winners this year and several stakes 2-year-olds, which has been great. I don't think we'd have thought we'd have had 40 winners this year, but no, look, it's great to be out here and nice to bring some of our better stock here. And it's a place that I've dreamt of having a runner, let alone a winner. So to be here is fantastic, really.
You've got 2 runners that you've brought, Thunder Love and Cachet. Thunder Love first reserve at the moment. Cachet in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly on turf. She ran a cracking race at Newmarket last time out. If this race was run at Newmarket, she'd have a huge chance. She's run some great races there. How do you think she'll cope with Del Mar?
The main thing I think with her is she's got a very good mind, and she's travelled over well. She likes fast ground. She jumped out the gates this morning, and it's always been a bit of an issue for her at home. The gates are that bit narrower back home, and here they've just got a bit more room. And she stood for a minute this morning, and that was the one thing I was worried about coming over here. And she jumped fast, and she's drawn stall 3, and hopefully we'll go forward, and she could get sucked into the race. And no, we're really happy with her.
It's amazing to be in your second season and have Breeders' Cup runners. I mean, has that beaten your own schedule?
Yeah, certainly. We started with 4 horses rated below 60 about 20 months ago, and we probably have 100 horses back home now. And no, look, it's great to be here, and hopefully they both run big races.
Great to see you, George, and good luck with those horses. We're heading out to Michelle now.
Thanks, Rishi. I'm over here with trainer Wesley Ward, going back to quizzing connections. Wesley, Breeders' Cup trivia. Can you tell me a trainer that won a dirt and a turf Breeders' Cup in the same year?
Dirt and turf Breeders' Cup, same year. I know that one.
Who was it?
You did have me stumped for a second, though. How the hell did I do that?
How the heck did you do that? It was Wesley Ward. I think that was where you're going with that, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember the year and the horses?
Of course. How do I forget? I own the one, Judy the Beauty. So, you know, it was, what was it, 2015?
13?
Oh, 15 or
15?
14 or 15?
13.
No, couldn't have been 13.
We're going to call the research department. But Wesley Ward, keeping our streak alive there, just barely, guys.
Wesley Ward is going to have a big say in the outcome, especially of those Future Stars Friday races. Got multiple entrants in a lot of those turf races. Medina Spirit coming out onto the racetrack, preparing for the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic, the highlight to the 2 days of championship racing. A winner of the Kentucky Derby, and then last time out beating older horses in the Awesome Again.
Yeah, here he is. He did his final preparations up at Santa Anita last Friday, where he worked 3/4 of a mile, and then he jogged and then shipped down here. I would imagine he's just jogging now, going to probably back up and go ahead and gallop, but he's looked good all week long. I mean, he's one of the 3-year-olds we've been talking about that seems to have filled out and developed, got a little more weight in his hind end since we saw him in the Triple Crown season.
He certainly holds the key, really, to the Classic so far as potential pressure on Nick's Go in the early stages of the race, because to my mind, he's the only horse who has the same type of speed or natural running style to be able to challenge him in the early stages. And I think it's a question of whether or not these two can match up early on, and if so, which one, if either, says Uncle.
Right. I mean, something's got to give, right? I mean, because Medina Spirit, his wins come when he gets to the lead and he gets to dictate the race. But he's never had a challenge like Nick's Go on the front end.
Well, and you were talking about it earlier in the week, Simon, on this show. Bob Baffert gave full credit to John Velasquez for that win in the Kentucky Derby. We caught up with John Velasquez to ask him about strategy aboard Medina Spirit going into the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic.
I am going to do that no matter what. I'm going to come out running. I'm going to put him at high speed. And somebody else wants to go, they need to run faster than he is. I'm going to put my hands down, and whatever he finishes, finish. I mean, I'm got to talk to Bob about this, but I'm pretty sure he's going to allow me to do what I think is best for him, because I don't want to come out of there and start looking who's going to the lead, though. You know, I'm going to use his power, his style, what he wants to do. Somebody, like I said, somebody wants to go faster, hey, go ahead, but I'm not taking hold of my horse, so they're going to have to run fast enough to be in front of my horse. And if they don't, they don't. If they don't, so, you know, if it works out for us.
Well, it's not as if the connections and Nick's Go are going to react and go, oh, we can't go to the lead now. So
No.
Are we looking at a speed duel here no matter what?
I think so. I mean, you got Nick's Go that's going to go, and you got Medina Spirit. He's going to put him in the race. I mean, that's what like Kate said, something's got to give. Who's faster? On the face of it, it would appear to be Nick's Go.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
But plans can change pretty quickly
Right.
once they spring the latch. And it just depends on what happens out of the gate. Both of these horses, that is their style, that's what they do, and we know that that's the plan. Neither jockey going to take back. However, if either one of them should happen to hesitate out of the gate or get bumped around a little bit, then it could be a completely different scenario.
And Medina Spirit now going through the lane here and breaking away, so a little bit more than what we just saw here moving up towards the top of the stretch.
Yeah, that was just a warm-up, jogging, right? So he's jogging with the pony. Now he's going to go ahead and gallop, and you can see the exercise riders trying to get a hold of him.
It's pretty fresh.
Yeah, very fresh, because like we said, he was one of the first to work. He worked on our first day of our Breakfast of Breeders' Cup show last Friday, so he walked Saturday, jogged Sunday, shipped Monday, So he's pretty fresh. He galloped yesterday, but as we've talked about all week, the start of the gallop is key for an exercise rider because you've got to get into a good rhythm, a good tempo, and it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the gallop.
And you could see he kind of going off those first few strides, switched his leads back and forth, and that was that phase where the exercise rider was trying to get control and get him into that steady rhythm. Now he's evened out, and he's staying on the same left lead, extending that left front leg first or a little farther,
right.
And now settled into that comfortable rhythm that you want to see throughout the rest of the gallop. And he's very smooth, very fluid at this point of the gallop,
yeah.
And he's just switched to the other lead, to the right lead, I believe, the outside lead.
Yeah, you can see him there. Getting a little more aggressive as the horse comes up inside of him, so the rider's just trying to keep him bottled up, ready for this weekend. And you can see he kind of practices like he plays. He's a horse that's on close to the pace in the races, and he wants to do a little more here in the morning. So I think that's Umberto aboard him, a long-time exercise rider for Bob Baffert, just trying to keep a hold of him. You know, you don't want to make one wrong move because he might just jump in the bridle and take off.
If you look at his mouth, you can actually see that he's working the bit in his mouth, and that's the horse trying to see if he can't get just a little bit of an edge on Umberto in the process. And it's nice. You actually want to see that as a rider or as a horseman when you're looking. You want to see that the horse is working the bit in the mouth and not locking onto it. It's kind of a nice synergy that's existing as he's going around the racetrack.
It's a game of cat and mouse, you know, between horse and rider here to see, you know, the horse is trying to see how much he can get away with, and the exercise rider is trying to, you know, see how much he can restrain him. So hands on the withers there, and he'll come and switch the lead change right there. You can see he's leading with his right front leg. Obviously, to veteran horse watchers, that's easy to pick up. To the novices, not so much, but he's doing exactly what he should be doing here.
One of the earliest trainers to arrive here for the Breeders' Cup at Del Mar. Steve Asmussen's horses have been in California for quite some time between Santa Anita and Del Mar. And with Steve Asmussen right now, Mike Joyce.
Steve, so Max Player just came by us. What were you doing with him? It seemed like he was jogging toward the gate.
Yeah, he's headed up for a little gate schooling this morning. You know, we're obviously extremely excited about his chances on Saturday. Thought he got a perfect draw for who he is, and we're very, very excited for the chance.
Jackie Warrior came by just a little bit earlier. How did he look to you?
He's training great. You know, he's done extremely well since he's been in California, and we're very fortunate to have him and an opportunity to run him in the Breeders' Cup Sprint.
We could do an entire breakfast show on you, your operation, and your horses you have in Breeders' Cup. You've had a lot of success with this move, coming early to California with all your horses. What is it about that strategy that works for you?
Well, I think it's who you bring. You know, I think we're very fortunate to have some really good horses right now, and several win-and-you're-in horses, and just wanted to eliminate as many variables as possible, have them acclimated. I thought the one, you train them here, they move down to Del Mar this week, train them here, they're at home. You know, they go back in their stall, they rest, they feel like they belong here, and I think it allows them for the best opportunity to show their best race.
So one of the best stories they've been telling about you is last time in Del Mar, you come with Gunrunner, secure horse of the year at the Classic. Now his progeny are running Echo Zulu, looks like a very tough horse for you. Keeping that bloodline going, is it a little more meaningful? You had a very meaningful year with the wins record, winning for your dad, I mean, all of those things. And then now watching the babies of Gunrunner come out to the track. What's that like for you?
Oh, exactly. It's extremely proud. You know, you mentioned what Gunrunner did for the stable, Winchell's, 3 Chimneys. Just what an unbelievable racehorse he was. How fun he was for us to be around, how he traveled, how he brought his race, and just simply the ability that he has. And then to come here to the Breeders' Cup with a big favorite out of his first crop, we're just proud, like proud parent. But, Echo Zulu is a very special filly, and we're hoping for a great run from her on Friday.
Even with the amount of success you've had through your career at this stage, with all the major preparations done, and you just have to hand the reins off to the pony rider, watch him go to the gate, do you still get those nerves about, the anticipation of these events?
Oh, absolutely. I always think, my feeling is, boy, that last race was good. How about one more? That's how horse racing is. And I think that's what makes it so special. What you've done previously doesn't do anything for you on race day. You have to do it again, and you got to be ready to do it again. And I think that's what makes it so exciting and gives everybody a chance.
All right, well, thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Todd, I think next year we'll just do a Breakfast with Steve Asmussen show in the run. I'm going to pitch that to our executive producer when we get back.
There's a lot of content there, and as we've been talking about, the Breeders' Cup does determine a lot of championships. The Eclipse Awards honors the best in racing. Is this Steve Asmussen's year for the nation's outstanding trainer?
I think he's absolutely part of the conversation, no question about it, yeah. And depending on what happens on this weekend, it could be solidified.
And Brad Cox is also in that conversation,
yep.
Caton, with horses like this, Essential Quality, one of your favorites for the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic, out at the gate right now.
It is pretty remarkable when you stop to think that not just Essential Quality, but also Knicks Go, what they're attempting to do and what they're in position to do so far as coming off of Breeders' Cup victories in the previous year. In the case of Essential Quality, he was the winner of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and there's never been a horse that's been successful in winning the Breeders' Cup Juvenile and coming back and winning the Breeders' Cup Classic. So this is rare air. He's now being escorted by the Outriders pony, which is a little unusual. This is a horse whose reputation is for being pretty laid back and not doing more. But keep in mind, this is a little bit chillier, different atmosphere, and he's been honed to this moment in 48 hours, give or take, to be ready to go. So I think that this is just like kind of an extra precautionary measure to have the pony there to make sure he gets safely from the gate onto the racetrack.
I think a lot of it had to do with going to the starting gate. It's got the competitive juices flowing. He's getting very aggressive here. Yeah. So normally we see him yesterday jog the wrong way. He stands out at the wire and watches for a while. But you can see the moment he exited the gate, it was a cue to him that it's game time. That's why you can't work these horses out of the gate. And he just, I can't underscore enough how great Essential Quality looks. We've shown this side-by-side work comparison. He is absolutely sitting on go. I mean, if you ask Brad Cox, he'd wish the race was this afternoon, I'm sure, because he's got to get through 48 more hours of a horse that's just feeling on top of his game. And this was just going to the gate. It turned the light bulb on, and he looks tremendous. He is ready to go. There's no question about that.
Essential Quality coming now to the far turn here, and on a very crisp, cool, foggy morning here at Del Mar, he is matching the conditions with his look, but he is outlooking so many horses leading up to the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. What is his best spot in this race? We heard about Medina Spirit and Knicks Go probably going after each other. Does that mean Essential Quality's in that second flight with that proverbial first jump opportunity?
That's great. I mean, the race on paper sets up perfectly for him, don't you think?
Yeah, ideally. I mean, that's the way it figures to be. We know distance is absolutely his strength, really, in comparison to some other horses where, say with Knicks Go, if there are question marks about it, he's never run this far. But here you have a horse who's won at the Belmont distance of 1.5 miles. Arguably, the only defeat came because of a bad luck trip with trouble out of the starting gate in the Kentucky Derby, and then a few things along the way as far as traffic was concerned, or he might be undefeated at this point. So I think that stalking position in that second tier of horses, he's going to be in the garden spot.
I mean, you can look and see what he's done to this point, but this week, I don't think this horse has ever looked better. I don't think he's ever been in better shape. I mean, I think there's more to give from what we've seen. He's just absolutely astounded me this week. And it's not just, how he moves, but it's physically how he looks, how he's filled out. He's got to put on a couple 100 pounds since last year.
There's an aura that the great horses give off, and he knows he owns the track right now as he's out here this morning. It's also the largest crowd that they've had trackside to watch these horses in the mornings. And you can see they've all come here to see Essential Quality at the breakfast marquee. It is shoulder to shoulder with everyone coming out to watch Essential Quality come around the track. Essential Quality, one of the favorites for the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. Big long shot is who we're going to take a look at now, and the TVG Breeders' Cup Juvenile presented by Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance. Talking about American Sanctuary, who's 30-1 in the morning line. Thanks to Sophie Doyle, who's aboard American Sanctuary this morning, for wearing our jockey camera. So a couple of looks here. Sophie and American Sanctuary there on the left with our cameras, and then her camera, the jockey's camera, taking you aboard American Sanctuary and through the lane here at Del Mar.
Big moment for her. rider, English-born, brother of jockey James Doyle, came to the United States about 8 years ago, I believe. Massive moment for her. Look, she's probably up against it from, you know, an odds standpoint, but will come trucking late. If there's a complete pace meltdown, American Sanctuary will be rolling from off the pace.
But she'll actually be aboard the other Chris Davis horse.
Yep,
She'll be riding Tough to Tame. And what's interesting, I would assume that Sophie, who had ridden both of those horses, had her choice of the mounts.
Yep.
Looking now to the Maker's Mark Filly and Mare Turf for the Breeders' Cup on Saturday, one of 9 championship races, and out onto the track. Been very busy. The Japanese-based runners, looks like we got a GoPro there. That's not our jockey cam, correct?
Right. Probably not. That's... Yeah. Is that ours, or are they?
No,
so
that's not ours.
They're just doing their own thing there. They documented this for all back in Japan, I think. But, yeah, I mentioned this earlier in the week. You'll see the Japanese horses do this a lot. They'll walk around a lot pre-exercise and a lot post-exercise. The horses stay out of their stalls for a long period of time in Japan when they go on exercise at these training centers, whether it's the Miho Training Center or the Rito Training Center, and they're doing the same thing here.
Why the covering over the ears? We've seen that with all of the horses this week, the Japanese-based runners.
Yeah, they do it a lot, right? I mean, to limit noise and distraction. Sometimes horses, we've talked about how they spook at things that aren't there on a typical, you know, they see a tree and they think it's a monster. They see a hospitality tent. Loud noises can also spook. Crowd noises, sudden, you know.
I would wonder if in Japan the crowds I've heard are immense at the races. So I'm wondering if that becomes more standard equipment there than what we're used to seeing here because of the size of the crowds.
Right. And when you look at what is a deep Maker's Mark Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Turf, Love's Only You is far and away one of the horses to beat with the year that she's had. And as they gather behind the starting gate here, they had her in the starting gate and then backed her out, and now they're just kind of circling around behind here. And
she's out of the Japanese horses. She's by far the best chance of them winning a race this year.
She's a daughter of Deep Impact.
Yeah.
And in my time at TVG, you and I were fortunate enough to go see his Japan Cup in person after he had returned from Longchamp and what ended up being kind of a star-crossed attempt at the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. But off his time after that, when he returned triumphantly to the Japan Cup, it's one of the most awesome performances and one of the best horses I've ever seen in person. And now Deep Impact as a sire is having that type of impact on the industry over there. And no surprise, he's by Sunday Silence is Deep Impact. So Love's Only You, daughter of Deep Impact, out of the Storm Cat mare Love's Only Me. Where would the Japanese breeding industry be without some of these American influences? Storm Cat mare and the son of Sunday Silence, Deep Impact here. Now, they're going to move forward with Love's Only You into the gate. Oh, no, she's coming back on the other side here now.
Yeah, she's coming back down. And where they went to the gate, or they just got to look at it, or what the plan is. But, yeah, very relaxed here. And like I said, walk, and more walk. And that's what they do.
The Aidan O'Brien set coming out onto the racetrack. We talked about being fans of the sport and seeing the different ways that trainers present their horses. You will always know when Ballydoyle's out there because of this formation. Saw a lot of chatter on social media, fans who've been able to be out here in the mornings, and I've seen comments like, I waited my whole life to see this in person. You could only see this overseas normally, and that's, again, the magic and the allure of the Breeders' Cup. Things you've read about, things you've watched on television, but when you come here, you get to see it for yourself.
Yeah, Aidan's Army, as it's become affectionately known. And no matter where in the world you go, I spent some time in Dubai when he shipped there for the big World Cup Carnival, and does the same thing. And this is what they do, and they train like this. If you go to Ballydoyle, this is nothing. This would be like a vacation for Aidan. He has 50, 60 out in a set.
Yeah, they should cue Wagner's Flight of the Valkyries when you see that coming out onto the track. And I just have to follow up on something that Rishi Prasad said earlier in the week, Scott, and he can confirm it for us. He does not feel that Aidan is here with some of his best chances as we've seen in previous years.
It's that, and I think that the form reflects that. I mean, you look at these horses, and especially led by Love, who has not carried on with the form that we expected from her after her success to kick off the season at Royal Ascot.
Yeah, normally Aidan O'Brien at major events around the world, he has maybe 1, 2, even 3, in the past 4 outstanding individuals that look the clear picks. with regards to his principal hopes, the likes of Love or Glounthaune, you think Love maybe on her form of last season, she would be a standout selection, but on her form this season, she is not clearly in the same form that she was 12 months ago. When you think of that horse like Glounthaune, he's won 2 of his 3 starts. Admittedly, he had an excuse in the Dewhurst Stakes on his second start where he stumbled and things didn't work out his way. But he's got to prove that he's got the pace for this race, which he hasn't really shown so far in the Juvenile Turf. So there are things to prove, whereas in previous years, horses have come already proven at the very highest level repeatedly in that season. Whereas I think this year there's nothing that matches those credentials.
Now, with that being said, 2021 going on to 2022, could it be a year or two more for them to have the sort of star that we expect out of the Ballador operation, or could it just burst out of nowhere, as it may happen, given the fact that they've got some of the best bloodstock in the world?
Well, he will always produce something special at some point because the quantity and the quality of stock. And he did produce something special at the end of the season back home in Britain. He had a horse called Luxembourg who won the Verton Futurity, which is a race that he'd won before with the likes of Camelot, etc. And Luxembourg is clearly a really talented performer. In fact, he is by Camelot, who won the Derby and the 2,000 guineas for Aidan O'Brien back in the day. And Luxembourg is clearly going to be a star next year. But
for the Derby.
But unfortunately, at the moment, as things stand, he's by far the best Aidan O'Brien 2-year-old. He's a standout 2-year-old amongst the colts. He did have a 2-year-old win the Cheveley Park Stakes, a horse called Tenebrism, who's only run twice. She had a huge gap between her first run back in the springtime and winning the Cheveley Park Stakes. It was an amazing training performance. He remains a trainer of the highest quality internationally, but in terms of his horses, they haven't quite delivered as they have done in the past. By other people's standards, that's really good, though, Scott. Right. That's what we always got to bear in mind. We've got to put it into perspective. He's still doing very well by other people's standards, but by what we've seen from Aidan O'Brien in years gone by, it's not been quite at the same level.
And in terms of the Breeders' Cup, you're talking about the Derby. Those are obviously, I think, right away you would say those are not the types of horses that he'd be looking to take to Keeneland in 2022 for the Breeders' Cup World Championship.
No, a horse like Luxembourg, you're unlikely to end up in the Derby, unlikely to win the Derby and then end up at Keeneland, you would imagine. But with Aidan O'Brien, you just never know.
Right.
He's still always capable of producing something out of the hat.
We shall see, Todd, if they can strike with this group here in the coming days at Del Mar.
Record number of interest from foreign-based horses, with 56 pre-entered in a weird position for trainer Aidan O'Brien, not necessarily having the horses to beat in every race that he enters, but the Breeders' Cup appreciative of his support over the years, and he has taken it to a new level and even changed the type of races that we have here. We wish him the best. We'll be back right after this.
PNC Bank believes that if a pair of goggles can help your backhand get better, then your bank should help you budget even better. Virtual Wallet is so much more than a checking account. Its low cash mode feature gives you at least 24 hours of extra time to help you avoid an overdraft fee.
You see that?
Virtual Wallet with low cash mode from PNC Bank. One way we're making a difference.
Upgrade your betting experience. The TVG app now includes more features. Track bets with live updates and view potential winnings. Got knocked out of your multi-race wager? Choose Create Bet to play the remaining selections. Alive in the last leg? View personalized wheel pace and see approximate payouts before results are posted. Plus, easily access TVG's improved handicapping tools, including TVG Insights, number fire picks, and odds trend. Bet with the latest features now.
Authentic makes his move, and so does Honor AP on the outside. Honor AP coming with a big powerful sweeping move on the outside of Authentic. And Odor there in the final furlong. And Honor AP runs right by Authentic. And Odor at the rail and Rushy. A 16th to go. Honor AP a length and a half. Authentic. Rushy running on late. It will be Honor AP. A very impressive winner of the Run Happy Santa Anita Derby.
Welcome back, everybody. Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup continues here on TVG from the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. I'm here at the Doug O'Neill barn at the backside right now. We just saw Hot Rod Charlie on the main track having a 1.25 mile gallop in preparation for the Breeders' Cup Classic. And when you look at the Breeders' Cup Classic field, there's only one horse that is going to have an equipment change, and that is going to be the 3-year-old and Hot Rod Charlie. He is getting blinkers back on for the Breeders' Cup Classic, and this right here, this is the exact set of blinkers that Hot Rod Charlie is going to be wearing in the Breeders' Cup Classic on Saturday. It's an equipment change, but not really, because he's worn this exact same set of blinkers before. The first time they went on was when he broke his maiden. The second start after that, he was second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile last year at 94-1 behind Essential Quality. He won the Louisiana Derby in these blinkers. He ran in them in the Kentucky Derby. He ran them in the Belmont Stakes when he was second. But his last couple starts, they have been taken off, but they are going back on for the Breeders' Cup Classic. And assistant trainer Leandro Mora told me after he won the Pennsylvania Derby, you saw him drift out at the top of the stretch. He's had 4 or 5 workouts since that time, but he has worn these set of blinkers in every morning workout. And if you notice during the Breakfast of the Breeders' Cup shows, he's actually been jogging in these blinkers as well. And these are a French Cup blinkers. These are a set of French Cup blinkers. As you can tell, the cup is not very big. And Simon, I'll lend on your expertise to explain this more to the viewers here. What is the difference from the blinkers that Hot Rod Charlie is going to be wearing in the Breeders' Cup Classic with these French Cups versus, say, a full cup of blinkers?
Okay, yeah, it's a good point you bring up. There's all different types of blinkers. Those are called French blinkers because they have a moderate cup. But you see the 2 diamond holes that they've cut in the blinker as well? That allows for some vision for Hot Rod Charlie to see as well. A full cup blinker would be a much more severe cup. There would be no hole in the blinker cup, and it would restrict vision. Horses have a big range of vision peripherally, but the quality of vision is not good. So what you and I see, say, from 30 to 60 feet away, they only can see 20 feet. So that's why they see things that aren't there. It gets a little spooky for them. So the idea of the blinker is to restrict that peripheral vision, have him looking down the lane. The 2 times he hasn't worn the blinkers, he's had an issue, a DQ, and he veered out. So I think it's a good choice to put the equipment back on.
The first time that we found that Hot Rod Charlie had some serious ability was right here at the Breeders' Cup in the TVG Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He was second at a big price to Essential Quality. We turn our attention back to Future Stars Friday with the TVG Breeders' Cup Juvenile presented by TAA. And out on the track for trainer Bob Baffert is Corniche.
We should be so lucky that this field this year produces a couple of horses the likes of what we had in Essential Quality and Hot Rod Charlie. The depth of that field, I don't think anyone could have imagined.
Was
and
fourth in
Rombauer
there.
as well.
Came out of that, became a classic winner.
That is a hard field to replicate, to be sure, but there is quality in this field, including Corniche, who this is the first opportunity since I got here to Del Mar to get to see Corniche on the track, son of Quality Road, undefeated in 2 starts. And, when you watch him run, he looks bigger. To me, he looks like a very big horse when you watch him run because he covers a lot of ground, but very, very quick, has a lot of speed, and similar to some of the other horses we were talking about, that like Jackie's Warrior, looks very manageable, but and very mature as far as his mannerisms here for a young 2-year-old who's only made 2 starts and who has the kind of speed that he's shown.
Yeah, these horses that at the late in the year that end up with the shift in the Breeders' Cup several years ago, with the point system, how you get in, it's eliminated a lot of the speed. So a lot of the late developing 2-year-olds get in. They're polished individuals, but you fast forward 6 months and maybe 12 months from now, you're going to see the dramatic transformation of these type of horses, like we see with Essential Quality when we did the comparison. But this is for his age right now, very polished individual, very professional, galloping like an older horse. beautiful, good-looking horse. I mean, a deep girth there. It's what you want to see. A nice, good-sized shoulder, and his stride when he's given his head.
He covers a lot of ground.
A lot of ground. He's got a big, long stride, and no wonder he was so impressive going 2 turns.
Purchased for $1.5 million. Corniche, a son of Quality Road out of the Najran mare. Wasted Tears, who is a great race mare in her own right, bred by Bart Evans and Stonehaven Steadings in the Commonwealth of Kentucky and owned by Speedway Stables. Mike Smith will be aboard the post position 12 to go 1 1/16 on this main track. How much of a problem is that?
Not ideal, right? I mean, but we know what we do with Bob's horses. They just go, and he'll cross and clear. And if he's good enough, I mean, if they're sitting 3-4 wide into that first turn, I think they'll be happy with that situation.
We leave the main track and check in with Mike Joyce.
Thanks, Todd. You're catching me doing my best jockey impersonation by standing next to 6'8" Jake Ballas, who is a former collegiate basketball player, current thoroughbred owner of Hidden Connection and black-type thoroughbreds. Jake, I just have to ask you, in 2 starts, just phenomenal efforts. Did you know you had this kind of talent off the bat, or when did Brett tell you, hey, we got a real runner?
You know, we bought, after a maiden win, we bought in, and I was talking to Brett about if we're going to go to the Pocahontas or the race up at Belmont or the Alcibiades, and Brett said, I've been training this filly for the Pocahontas since before she broke her maiden, so he knew then that what kind of talent she had. But, you know, you never know going from 5.5 to 8.5 furlongs what they're going to do, and but she put on a big performance, and we couldn't be any more happier with her.
So black-type thoroughbreds is your partnership. How many horses do you have in training, and who are some of the partners that you have out here this weekend?
So we have 7 in training, 5 have run. We have 2 2-year-olds that haven't run, and we bought 6 yearlings. We're going to have about 45 people in our group. And Richard Lewis, who played basketball, he has a piece of her. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to come. One of my best friends growing up, his name's Reagan Swinbank, and he owned Joining the Dance with me when we ran him in the Derby in '09, and he just got back in the business. And he's kind of been behind Black Type with getting a bunch of new partners from Houston. So we have about 80% of the partners are from Texas. And so they're all coming up this weekend, my family. We're going to have a big crowd.
So we've seen Ballas and Lewis in the owner lines, but Black Type Thoroughbreds is relatively new.
Yeah, 2019, we bought our first horse for a partnership, and her name was Up in Smoke. She got grade 1 place. This year we ran Past the Champagne in the Kentucky Oaks. She got beat ahead in the grade 1 to Malathot in the Ashland. We have Breaker of Chains, who just ran at Kentucky Downs, and then we have Hidden Connection. So we've had 2 grade 1 place fillies, a grade 3 winner filly, and hopefully we'll add to that resume tomorrow.
Hey, best of luck, and Hidden Connection, she looks absolutely dynamite.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
We wish Jake Ballas and his partners best of luck this Breeders' Cup weekend. Back to the main track, and the Aidan O'Brien horses picking up the pace here just moments ago.
Yeah, this was moments ago, and this is typically what they do. Don't be alarmed by this. In Europe, we train usually a gallop. A horse is going to gallop not in company unless they're a young, inexperienced 2-year-old. But this is what they do in Europe. They follow single file here, usually have an older horse or a horse with the experience at the front leading them. So he sets the tone, sets the pace. The others drop their head in behind, and they'll just take a nice canter or gallop around the racetrack.
It is amazing to think, though, that they've traveled from other countries, come over here and do exactly the same thing, and for the most part, you know, aren't turning a hair and are just kind of going about their business.
Yep, exactly. Very professional. In fact, that might be, I'm not sure if that's Broom, the 2-year-old in front leading this group, but they all look tremendous here. And
the setting couldn't be any different than what they would be doing at home.
Right. They'd be going straight away up in a wide open area, whether it's a grass canter, gallop, or an all-weather surface. Yeah, to be constantly on the turn like this, they wouldn't experience that. Usually most of the exercise is done in a straightaway fashion.
And does everybody know the game plan each and every time out? Is it almost like a huddle in football? Does Aidan O'Brien bring all of the riders in, and this is what we're going to do?
Yeah, he'll warm them up. You know, they'll walk around and circle in the barn area. He'll go to each rider. He'll be on the ground as they're walking around or going to the track, and he'll be telling each and every one what to do here.
and turning heads with everyone in attendance to watch these horses from the Ballydoyle operation.
I mean,
of Aidan O'Brien.
It's like the Blue Angels coordinating.
Yeah, that's right.
Like 3 inches away from each other, wingtips nearly touching. But and they come up. They kind of improved their position a little bit here, just to get come up inside, up sides of each other rather than in behind each other.
Yeah, that is Broom first in line.
Yeah.
Gorgeous sight here this morning on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup. Then there's that lone horse who's not part of it, kind of caught in the middle of all of it. We were talking about Latruska being caught with one horse. Imagine being caught with Aidan's army to your outside.
Handling it well. Great job. I mean, very professional. And most of those are 2-year-olds in there. So, traveled halfway around the world. Very, very professional.
And finishing up their morning, Aidan O'Brien's horses here on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup. Aloha West for trainer Wayne Catalano. As I mentioned, got a chance to see him this morning. We were talking about how well his horse is doing for the Cutter Racing Breeders' Cup Sprint. Going to need some help with that pace up front because Aloha West is going to be closing.
I bet I know where you saw him. I bet he was eating breakfast.
We had the chicken and waffles today together.
Okay.
I started out with the ham. I've eaten my weight in ham this week, but it's that good.
Hitting your sodium level this week?
It's off the charts.
Did you tell Bobby Flay he was going to have to cook for you?
Yes, we have to do that. Bobby Flay will be coming up. But Wade also reminded me, hey, I'm trying to get to 3,000 career wins as a trainer. He's about 73 wins short, but he'd be one of only 36 to pull that off. And he also had 1,792 wins as a rider. So Wayne Catalano knows this game from every level. The irony is, despite him being a rider, he often has bad luck with riders, as he says it. But Aloha West, again, looks the part, but needs some help here in this race.
Does. I mean, he looks like a sprinter. We've looked at a lot of horses this morning, from Essential Quality to Corniche. You see the physical difference here with the sprinter. Somebody who's coming out of the blocks running 6 furlongs. A much more short-coupled horse. The distance from front to back is shorter, more compact, lower to the ground. Big round hind end, more of an engine back there.
Did you say big hind end?
Yes, I did.
How about a big-ass fans Breeders' Cup Mile participant?
And who's this?
This is Snapper Sinclair getting warm on a very chilly morning.
Yeah, for trainer Steve Asmussen, assistant Scott Blasi. Yeah, just get a little warm down the neck. That's what that sweat is. I don't know whether they've been to the gate. Another one. Again, this is a snapshot. I don't know whether he's been to the gate, come out, and that would, maybe explain why he got a little warm, similar to Essential Quality.
With the horses being here in a different situation, he was in the gate before.
Yeah, so that
explains it too. I was going to say, sometimes I know that some of Steve's horses are generally early morning trainers before it gets light out.
Right.
But because of the circumstances here, where you have a smaller string of horses and a smaller crew, you can't send everybody in the dark.
They're coming out one at a time rather than 3 or 4 or 5 at a time.
So it might be that he's training a little bit later than he usually does as well to go along with it. So that could account for some of the nerves that would be surfacing and that you would see as well. But the 6-year-old is a veteran. He's closing in on $2 million in earnings and coming off a second in the Grade 2 Eddie D on the turf, but moves back to the main track where he's known some success, although not ever at this high of a level of competition. But he's certainly a horse that's easy to root for. He tries hard every time.
Yeah, I mean, the decision would be on face value. Do you go in the turf mile or the dirt mile? And clearly, I mean, it's a much tougher spot going in the turf mile. Out of the two, they elected to pick the softer spot. So,
Snapper Sinclair preparing for the Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Mile.
Looks like he's going to gallop the whole way with the pony. Obviously an little aggressive horse. Looks like he might gallop the whole way with the pony just to keep that energy contained.
Another horse from the Bob Baffert barn is out here this morning. That is Private Mission, preparing for the Longines Breeders' Cup Distaff. Could she be on a mission to go with Latruska, the favorite in this race, early?
Why not? I mean, that's the MO. I mean, it's not often you see a Bob Baffert horse come from 4, 5, 6 lengths back in a race. And I'm talking from maiden races all the way up to Grade 1 race. It's just how he trains his horses.
That's his style, and that's her style, too. She really hasn't done much unless she has been on the front end. Her only defeat coming in the Des Arnaz at 6.5 furlongs here at Del Mar when she didn't make the lead. struggled a little bit out of the gate. It's interesting to note that came when she had the one post position. And most of her races, she has been positioned toward the outside. And I'm wondering if she is the type that is more comfortable when she kind of has clear run to the outside of her rivals versus down on the inside, where sometimes horses get a little bit claustrophobic, especially those that are so quick out of the gate. It's just that extra pressure of having to get out of the gate inside of everybody to assume that position. But she, to me, is the only horse that, well, I mean, Malathat and She Dares the Devil certainly have speed enough too, but I don't think that those are the types of horses that you want to have to engage Latruska early, whereas Private Mission seems like she has to engage early to have any chance.
You're not taken out of her element if you engage early. I think a couple of things with Private Mission. I think she was allowed to develop. She had the inside post. She went to the sidelines in the Desnianes. As that tells me something when a miss, she went to the shelf. Since they've sent her around 2 turns, she has been very, very good indeed. She needs to take another big step forward. Looks like she's going to the gate, too, after exercise hip. So they're probably just going to go ahead and stand her in the gate.
Michelle?
Hey, Chad. Private Mission at the gate schooling right now? Right here, Private Mission making her way behind the starting gate. We've had a bevy of horses schooling here, and this is Private Mission. A couple other horses that are non-Breeders' Cup contenders going to be going in here as well. We saw a couple other Bob Baffert schooling this morning, and Private Mission following along suit. She's going to go in the gate. Looks like they'll probably just back her out, is what I'm hearing from assistant trainer Jimmy Barnes. Perfect. So far, a lot of the horses up here, guys, have been extremely well behaved. We haven't seen too many bad actors. We've seen a number of the Euros come up here and school at the gate, and everyone's been pretty good.
Private Mission is standing in the gate, and as Kate mentioned, we'll be drawing the inside post position 1 for the Longines Breeders' Cup Distaff.
She'll back out there. They won't walk out the front. You know they're not coming out the front. You see those orange clips on the front of the starting gate? So the gate is operated by electromagnets. So the magnets break away the gates open. When those orange clips, those little orange handles are there, you can't come out. It's keeping the clip shut. So during schooling hours, they'll keep those orange clips on there so nobody can, nudge the gate and it'll open. So she'll back out of the starting gate there. Now, if they were to break out of the starting gate, they put the horse in, and right before they break him out, they would take these orange clips off.
That's why you can sometimes see horses prematurely come out of the starting gate or break through the gate, because there is no orange clip holding the gate together.
Exactly.
It's just a magnetic force, but that's easily broken through.
All right, Private Mission finishes that little session at the gate and heads back out to the main track. Here's a look at the Breakfast Marquee, brought to you by WinStar and Fasig-Tipton. Large crowd on hand watching everything going on this morning. We'll be back right after this.
You know this type of place. You might even work in one. Hot, sweaty, uncomfortable. But it doesn't have to be that way. Big-ass fans keep you cool, comfortable, and productive in any type of space. So no matter where you are, think big. Get cool.
At Calumet Farm, we're proud to offer proven stallions to fit every breeder's needs. With over 72 million in progeny winnings on dirt and turf, our diverse roster is producing the champions of today and tomorrow. Calumet Farm, a legacy reborn.
With the TVG app, get expert analysis and free handicapping advice from here. Place a bet in just a few simple taps from here. And even stream races live from here. Access, analysis, and action from anywhere. Get cash back for finishing second or third on all Breeders' Cup races. TVG. Onto the app. Off to the races.
The dream lives within all of us. When fueled by passion,
patience, and perseverance. A spark of greatness can ignite a prosperity that is seemingly unimaginable. That is, unless you are a dreamer. Come, dream with us at Three Chimneys, where dreams are born.
Celebrity chef Bobby Flay on hand here at the Breeders' Cup. In fact, he's just leaving to head to our set on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup. We're going to talk with him about two horses that he has a part of here at the Breeders' Cup World Championships, both Friday and Saturday, but also talk about his general philosophy of why he loves horse racing so much, and especially on the breeding side. Coming out onto the track is Knicks Go, one of your favorites for the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. How would you describe, because Caton, you were there when he was at Churchill Downs finishing his final preparations, and you've watched him now since arriving in California. How would you describe the week Knicks Go has had?
Well, I mean, it's been sitting on ready, I think, at every point. His breeze was contained, but it was very much according to plan. He continues to thrive. You can see him visually. He's just a beautiful horse. He's a striking horse that I think everyone would remark on. He trains with draw reins. Simon has talked a lot about the equipment that you see that's attached to the girth. The rein goes through the bridle and gives the rider extra leverage. Because he is a horse that has so much natural energy and desire to go. And that is something that Brad Cox has talked about, that they have kind of tried to hone and allow him to do. They just kind of let him do what he likes to do, but within reason, to keep that comfortable balance going into each of his races. He doesn't work lightning fast. His last work was slower than Essential Quality's last work, but he doesn't need to do as much. He's been racing more frequently than Essential Quality, or more recently, and he has that natural speed, so you don't have to put it into him, so to speak, with his workouts. But they have to be pleased with the way he's coming into the race, and it's just a matter of one more time that he goes out and does what he's done each time, which is break from the gate running, run everyone off their feet, and keep on going for the 1.25 miles. This will be the first time he's asked to go that far.
Yeah, he looks great. I mean, we've seen him all week. He's one of the few horses that we've followed all week. The draw reins, I was a huge fan of those myself as a trainer. I think it really aids and helps a certain type of horse like this, like United. Look, it's like, when you get in a golf cart, sometimes it's called a governor, right? To slow
right.
Yeah, so it's like a governor, if you will. It stops them from going too fast. That's the principle. And, it makes them, fill out in behind. It keeps their head down. So I like it. I mean, he looks tremendous. And a trainer's job, look, it's very complicated, but the basic premise is eliminate risk and just have a photographic memory. Charlie Whittingham said one time, you just got to have a photographic memory, because you've just got to remember, what they do each and every day. And if they differ from that, then they're alarming you to something good or bad.
And listening to those conversations that Caden had with Brad Cox, and he just said off the top of his head what all his horses are doing. He has that photographic memory, and that's why he's one of the best trainers in American racing. Tarnawa, a winner last year of the Longines Breeders' Cup Turf, is at the gate, back to try and win again.
Yeah, so they're just going to pop her out of the gate. I think she had the blanket on in there, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, she had the blanket in there. I talked about this yesterday. Some of these horses go in the starting gate with that blanket over their hindquarters. Just gives them a little, extra comfort in there should they get a little, antsy in the starting gate.
Michelle?
Thanks, Todd. I'm standing by with Dermot Weld, who just sent out Tarnawa, like you guys were talking about. Dermot, what were you looking for from her this morning?
I just wanted to see that she was moving good, that, she was happy in every way, and that's about it. Nothing special.
Simon mentioned that she was in the starting gate with a blanket, or looked like a set of pads. Is that a set of something normally that she wears?
It is indeed. It is. No, that's her standard gear, simple as that. And it was just nice to break her this morning, you know what I mean? And we did it before she won the Breeders' Cup last year, and we did it again this morning.
Her record on paper isn't as formful as it was last year, but do you feel like her efforts were just as good?
They were indeed. I think they were even better. I think, she raced against the best horse of the world. She ran 2 brilliant seconds, and we have a lot to look forward to.
How about from a physical standpoint? She looks just tremendous out here. Have you seen development from her from last year to this year?
No, I think you're correct. She has developed from last year to this year. She's a stronger filly, and no, she looks fantastic.
Appreciate the time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Tarnawa looking to go back-to-back with Breeders' Cups, guys.
And for years, Dermot Weld has been coming to the United States, not just for the Breeders' Cup, but for some of our biggest races. He's even taken shots on the Triple Crown.
He was one of the first European trainers to pioneer global transportation as far as horses, long before Godolphin. He went down, he got a victory in the Melbourne Cup, which, you know, the Europeans wanted to do for a long time. He came to the United States. He had a lot of success shipping horses to California at Hollywood Park. He's a very good trainer, and he's mastered traveling horses around the world a long time ago.
You know, Todd, one thing is, I know we're looking at Knicks Go, but I think here in the United States we get so keyed in on wins and losses and get off of horses after losses, but that's not how it's perceived overseas. They don't view losses in the same way that we do as far as their chances going forward to the next race. So I think Tarnawa will be treated more kindly overseas and has a bigger chance perhaps by a European perspective than the way the U.S. batters will view her.
You're 100% right. I think, you know, the U.S. audience, we're a little less forgiving when we look at that most recent past performance line. We kind of focus in on that. In Europe, you know, the season is shortened. They tend to run a little more often. There's less spacing between races because they only have between April and November. 60% of the time they might not get the ground they want because of the weather. So, you know, a horse's form can fluctuate a little bit, and they're more forgiving for that.
When we come back, someone who's winning at life. That's celebrity chef Bobby Flay. But he wants to win on the racetrack. We'll talk to him about all of that when we return on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup right after this.
The November sale is a destination event for buyers and sellers around the world.
The ambiance during the September sale was incredible.
As we move into Keeneland November, I think people will find a new experience, a new atmosphere, new optimism. Anybody who participates, buying and selling, when they participate in Keeneland, they're reinvesting in the industry. That is the mission. It allows us to build for the future, and the future is bright.
The future is bright at Keeneland November.
Introducing the Equibase app with all new features, including Smart Pick, smart handicapping made easy. Choose your track, choose your race, and then go to Smart Pick. Select your level of risk, the size of your wager, and which of these 3 strategies you want to emphasize. Smart Pick will then tailor your very own selection and bet amount. It couldn't be easier. Smart Pick, one of the exciting new features in the Equibase app. Download it free of charge today.
5 now. 500,000, well done.
Audible let loose on the outside to take the lead. Audible by 3. Hoffberg can't get him. Audible, no doubt about it. Audible on the inside turns away the challenge of Free Drop Billy. No confrontation at all. It's Audible to win the Holy Bull with style.
Audible on the outside races to the lead. Audible wins by 2.5.
Longines.
All right, we are back at the set here at the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club, our daily segment presented by our friends at America's Best Racing. Twitter Talk, we jump into the social media world here. Always fun, I know. Boy, and it's been hot after what happened yesterday. The hot take from Ed DeRosa saying that Latruska shouldn't be in the conversation for Horse of the Year. I took a lot of flack for getting on him, but, man, he put it out there in the public domain. We can comment on it. So let's revisit. Here's Melissa Bauer Herzog. She said, harsher than I would have been about the tweet, but I'm team Simon TVG. Other divisions get voted as Horse of the Year without winning on dirt races. A filly mare has more success. There we go. Excuse me. More success for campaign than any other dirt round male candidate. She deserves it too. I would agree with that. What else do we get here? Ed DeRosa, who put that tweet out there. This has been great. he took it very, very well. A lot of people get their feelings hurt, but he goes, if there's one thing I learned today, it's that people watch TVG. You're welcome, Ed. We gave you about another 100,000 followers, and people are following you now. And Todd Schrupp signed off and called him not Ed DeRoaster. He said he was Ed DeRoasted yesterday. Look what he did. He changed his Twitter handle. Ed DeRoasted with the blue check mark. Ed, come back with a stronger take next year, please, buddy. And here's one from Dr. Keeneland Dave. I don't know if we can get these out of the way here. Dr. Keeneland Dave. And this was in response to his take. He just tweeted, you can't really see it there, he just tweeted a picture of a trash can with a microphone. He goes, have you got any other takes, anything else that you could provide us with? All right, that wraps it up. We've also got Bobby Flay coming up in about 5 minutes. We're going to talk to him about his new restaurant, Amalfi, his new cookbook, Beat Bobby Flay. And, of course, he's got 2 horses in the Breeders' Cup, Pizza Bianchi and Caravel. That coming up next time.
In fact, Caravel is getting ready to come out to the racetrack, and Bobby had one request when doing the interview. He's like, I want to watch the workout. I mean, that's what he's here for.
That's what you're here for, to be around the horses.
So he's given up some of his morning to be with us, and he'll be on the set here momentarily. Christina Blacker, where are you?
I'm joined by international superstar jockey Sheheen Murphy. Sheheen, you actually had the opportunity to ride the Breeders' Cup here in 2017. What do you remember about the course, and what will you be keeping aware of this year?
I remember the turf track is very sharp. It's a short stretch, and pace tends to carry on. I know on the summer meets here you can come from far back, but the quality of horse here is very strong.
How have your first few days been here, and have you had a chance to get on some horses?
Yeah, I've ridden all my rides, so all 4. They've all settled in pretty well. Look, it's very steep competition. My best chances are probably on the Friday with the 2-year-olds, and we can chat through them now.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about Hierarchy and Mise en Scène.
Hierarchy was second in a Group 2 last time, over 6 furlongs. I made all the running, so hopefully he can break well. I don't suspect he will have enough speed to lead the Americans on their home patch, but he is very straightforward and he's trained well. So on ratings he has a decent chance. Hopefully he can get towards, the front end of the field. My other ride on Friday is Mise en Scène. She was 4th in a Group 1 last time. She was a Group 3 winner before that. She's got a lot of speed. We did some gate work with her just to try and get her out, but I've got a shocking draw in 13. It's not going to be easy from there, so we won't have a plan. It'll just be an open book and see where she's comfortable, but she should be hitting the line and running a decent race.
Marsh Lorraine in the distaff on Saturday. How did that mount come about for you?
I ride a lot for the Japanese internationally, and she's owned by Carrot Farm. Mr. Yahagi trains her, and I've ridden a lot for him in the past, particularly abroad in Hong Kong and in Dubai. This filly needs to step up on what she's shown so far. She's been running in NAR, which is the division below JRA. So, to put that in English terms, it's just a division below Premier League. She has lots of experience on dirt, though, so let's see what she can do. I really respect the top 3 in the betting. Todd Pletcher's filly, owned by Shadwell. She looks $1 million. Sheikh Fahd owns a horse in partnership called She Shares the Devil, trained by Brad Cox. And obviously the favourite, beginning with L, her name escapes me now, but
Latruska.
Yeah, Latruska. They've been mixing it all together, so I think that's a very good race. And to finish my Breeders' Cup campaign, I have Ocean Road, who ran really well, a career best in a Group 3 last time, got held up in traffic. She's trained incredibly well since she's been here. She needs to record a career best, but I think she will, and she could be in the first kind of half of the field. If she ran first 5, we'd be really thrilled.
So insightful. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Sheheen Murphy, he will be very busy, and as you can tell, a real student of the game, internationally successful. That's why he's able to travel to any racetrack and go home with a victory.
Yeah, when I hear jockeys like that, because he's in the mold of Flavien Prat here in the United States, it makes you feel good about the future of the game. The Breeders' Cup brings the best together, both those in the saddle and the equine athletes themselves. And you can wager on all this championship action over 2 days. The wagering menu looks like this on Friday. Future Stars Friday, 5 Breeders' Cup championship races, including in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly Turf, Pizza Bianca, bred and owned by Bobby Flay. Going to find out why he went to Fastnet Rock. Going to ask him about that. And then on Saturday, 9 Breeders' Cup Championship races, 12 races in all. The Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint looks wide open. Don't go to sleep on Caravel. Owned and bred by Elizabeth Merriman and co-owned by Bobby Flay. 20-1 in the morning line. Of course, all of you know this in the Google generation, but Caravel was a fast, speedy sailing ship, Portuguese or Spanish, around the 15th or 16th century.
Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows that. We'll be back right after this.
When a new wave calls, you answer. When adventure calls, you answer. When the surf calls, you paddle out. When sunsets call, you find the best view. When the sand in your toes calls, you put more sand between them. When the ocean calls, you wave hello. Because when happiness calls, you answer. San Diego Happiness is calling you back.
Friday and Saturday, get cash back for finishing second or third on all Del Mar races. We'll refund your first win wager up to $10. Breeders' Cup Friday and Saturday. Bet to win to get money back for finishing second or third. Opt in at tvg.com/promos.
Upgrade your betting experience. The TVG app now includes more features. Track bets with live updates and view potential winnings. Got knocked out of your multi-race wager? Choose Create Bet to play the remaining selections. Alive in the last leg? View personalized wheel pace and see approximate payouts before results are posted. Plus, easily access TVG's improved handicapping tools, including TVG Insights, Number Fire Picks, and Odds Trend. Bet with the latest features now.
Championship Saturday. Join us for the TVG Breeders' Cup Players Show. Exclusive insight and expert analysis, a priority before you make your selections. TVG's Breeders' Cup Players Show kicks off Saturday, 11:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific.
Respect the law. He's earned it. A Grade 1 winning juvenile.
'Tis the law, pops the cork in the champagne.
A classic winning 3-year-old.
'Tis the law is gonna win the first leg of the Triple Crown.
5 triple-digit buyers.
Respect the law, 'tis the law.
The best son of Red Hot Sire Constitution.
He's left the others behind. He's gonna win the Run Happy Travers.
'Tis the law.
Gunrunner reaching for the wire, collected alongside, and then comes West Coast and War Story, but Gunrunner's on top of the world! He wins the Breeders' Cup Classic!
In 2017, Gunrunner punctuated his Horse of the Year campaign with a dominant victory in the Breeders' Cup Classic. This year, the World Championships return to the Seaside Oval, and the biggest names in the sport have assembled at the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. Who will rise to the occasion and emerge as this year's definitive star? TVG brings you all the action as the competitors and their connections make their final preparations for the biggest weekend of the year. Welcome to Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup.
We are less than 24 hours out from the 38th renewal of the Breeders' Cup World Championships, and the second time the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club will host the Breeders' Cup. Welcome to Del Mar, California. I'm Todd Trupp for Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup on TVG. And joining me, well, you got Simon Bray, but our real credibility is in between us right here. Celebrity chef Bobby Flay is with us.
What's happening, guys?
No, good to see you. Finally made it down.
First of all, I have to give you credit because Todd, you sound so perfect when you do the opens and the closes. There's no teleprompter here, folks.
Yeah.
Like honestly, it's amazing.
Well, as someone who does a lot of television like yourself, that is the ultimate compliment. How busy are you right now? You're a man who's constantly in motion. What projects do you have going on?
Well, we just opened a Malfi in Las Vegas at
Right.
Caesar's Palace about 4 or 5 months ago, and that's going so well, knock on wood. It's just been, Vegas has been very, very busy. I just finished 32 episodes of Be Bobby Flay last week. 32 episodes,
oh my
yeah.
gosh.
So we've done 390 episodes.
That's insane.
So, yeah.
And how do you shoot that? You shoot how many in a day?
We shoot 2 a day. They're half-hour shows, and we shoot 2 a day, and they're very dense days. But I like doing them in chunks because then I'm done with it.
Yeah.
And then I can start handicapping.
So, how does horse racing fit into this? The first time we met you, you said your favorite part of the game was planning the matings, the breeding part of it. That's a long process. So, is horse racing still an outlet for you from that daily grind that you sometimes find?
I mean, I've been interested in horse racing literally since I was a young teen. My grandfather took me to Saratoga. I mean, you've heard this story from lots of people. Saratoga kind of bites you, and in the very best way. And I've been interested in it, and I used to cut out of school in high school and go to the racetrack with all my friends, and then once I started working for a living and I had a few dollars, like I started getting involved in some small partnerships on, and then I realized I really liked the full picture of it. And if you want to be in the full picture of thoroughbred racing or the horse business, the breeding industry is amazingly interesting, but
it's always that.
It takes one thing that you cannot erase: patience.
Yep.
It's literally like buying a piece of real estate. Like it's not like buying some Bitcoin where you're trying to get lucky in the next 3 days.
Right.
This is literally years and years and years of patience. But then you get to grow these amazing families, and then the word family is incredibly important in this because you grow these amazing horse families. And then we were talking about my daughter Sophie, who's 25. I always think about Sophie's going to be breeding out of these families herself, and maybe her kids will be breeding out of these families. So you're creating this thoroughbred legacy that can be really fun, can take you all over the world, which is what I love about horse racing. I had a horse race in Ascot, more than real, who won the Breeders' Cup here in 2010. We then took her to Ascot. She ran second to last, but you know what? Didn't matter. We had the best time of our lives.
Well, you're involved in so many levels on the breeding side. For example, Pizza Bianca, who will run in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf, you bred and you kept her to race. But I'll look at the sales and I'll see horses bred by you that are being sold for 7 figures.
Yeah.
Where's your greatest gratification here? And how do you decide which ones you're going to keep and which ones you're going to sell?
It's a great well. First of all, each individual fall that you have, you make that decision. I like to keep the fillies, and I like to sell the colts. Now that doesn't always work
because you have residual value with the fillies.
You have residual value with the fillies, and I want to continue to breed them out of my families. Okay, right. And the colts, to me, I can't really afford to take that. That's a very risky business.
Yeah,
and there are people in this industry that own countries. That's what they do. Okay, and I'm not even exaggerating.
You own a fruit empire.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, I mean, literally, I'm the caddy. And so I want to stay. I want to stay somewhat solvent, but also enjoy myself. So being able to sell horses, we topped the sale at Saratoga a couple of years ago. The horse became first captain.
Right.
This past Saratoga, we topped the first session with a horse by Uncle Mo out of a mare that I raced named Dame Dorothy, who was my fastest horse ever.
Named after your mom, right?
Named after my mom. And so, the great thing about breeding that people don't understand is, how can you sell them? Well, you can sell them because people pay you for your horse, and you can root just as hard because you still have the entire family. Yeah. So if they do well, you continue to do well. So it's nice it's really nice to have that balance.
The way I put it, the analogy in your world, the culinary world, it's like making wine, right? From the grape to press to bottle to sitting on the shelf and maturing. It's kind of the same thing as breeding horses. You got to wait and wait and wait.
You have to be patient.
Yeah.
And honestly, patience
means money.
Patience is not part of my pedigree at all. Yeah. But for some reason, I've found that I'm really patient watching these horses, grow up, become racehorses, etc., and then on and on to mares. And so it's been really, really nice. But it takes a financial investment, and it takes a time investment.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a horse that you're partners in for the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. That's Caravel. Elizabeth Merriman is the breeder and co-owner with you. We're going back to the Grand Motion Barn because Caravel is getting set to come out on to the racetrack, preparing for Saturday in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. The morning line says 20-1, long shot chance. What do you say?
I say that she's probably not. She shouldn't be 20-1, only because her last race, and you were talking about this a couple of segments ago, that a lot of people look at the last line and they say, "Oh, I'm throwing this horse out."
Yep.
She is a very fast filly. 5 furlongs on firm turf is her game. The last race was at Parks at the Turf Monster. I was there. It was quicksand. It was not. The turf course was basically non-existent. Jose was riding her that day. Jose Ortiz was riding, and he said she just she was like being buried on
Sure.
every step. And so, we throw the race out. But I'm going to tell you right now. I'll give you the TVG tip of the week. You're going to get a scream at the top of the stretch if you bet on Caravel. That's all I want is a scream.
Right.
I don't even care if we win. We want our heartbeat to go up.
Yep.
To me, it's all about the participation. That's it.
For the horses that race for you, how do you decide who trains for you?
Okay, another really good question. I mean, it's one of those things. When you have the horses in Ocala, Paul Sharp breaks a lot of my yearlings in Ocala, and at some point you get a sense of is this going to be a turf horse? A lot of times you can tell by the pedigree, of course, but not always. And then I try to give the horses to the trainers that they fit somehow.
Yes,
it's not a perfect science. So Todd Pletcher has been a very important part of my training, of course. Christophe Clement, Graham Motion. I've used Bill Mott in the past. Really just exceptional trainers. And I like people who are incredibly organized and that they have sort of this military precision in terms of the way that they do things, so it's consistent. And also communication is really important.
Communication's key.
Yeah, communication is really important. And I just want to know. I don't need to know every single thing that the horse is doing, but I just want to have a good sense.
Right. When you're cooking a recipe, you got to have precision. Everything's you can't mess with the ingredients, right? Everything's got to be
well,
exact.
that's baking, and that's why I'm a bad baker.
Okay.
You're a bad baker?
Oh, I'm terrible.
Are you really?
Well, because it's too exact.
Yeah.
I mean, and also I'm a little bit of a control freak. So once you put it in the oven, you just have to pray. I don't like that.
Right.
I like having the stove. I can see what's going on. If it needs a little more sauce, I put a little more
bacon.
stock in there.
My wife's always looking through the glass window in the oven, trying to watch it rise.
Here's the difference. In savory cooking, you can adjust as you go.
Okay.
In baking, once you set it, it's over. You just have to hope that it comes out.
That's why you hire a pastry chef.
Exactly right.
There's a horse racing lesson in there somewhere. Celebrity chef Bobby Flay is with us as his Caravel is out on the racetrack. What about this venue, Del Mar? I mean, the Breeders' Cup is always going to choose a spectacular venue. How do you feel about Del Mar?
Okay, well, I've been watching you guys, obviously, since you guys have come on the air, back in the day. And I'm a native New Yorker, and so I've spent most of my life in New York. I'm out in Los Angeles a little bit now here as well. But Saratoga is my heart, and so obviously when Saratoga's on, Del Mar's on,
right?
And there's always the chatter, which is better. Obviously, they're very, very different. The one thing I'm gonna complain about is. What's up with this weather?
Right.
Yeah. You guys have been talking about the perfect weather in Del Mar,
yeah.
and it's been a little chilly. But I have to say, Del Mar is absolutely beautiful. It's the beach is right here. The weather, obviously, this is going to burn off. We all know that. It's just a matter of time, and we're going to have beautiful weather for this at this beautiful racetrack. It's going to be great. And I have to say, the Breeders' Cup, as an organization, has done an amazing job up to this point. I mean, everything is just on point. Drew Fleming, they've got their game on.
On race day, what do you like to be around? Do you get real tense, or are you this casual and fun?
I'm very relaxed. All I want them. Well, we start drinking early.
Yeah.
Because it's a celebration. I mean, that's what this is. Like people talk about. Do you think the horse can win? Do you the bottom line is, yeah, of course I think about that. But the most important thing to me is being able to participate in races like this. Getting your horse in a gate like this is very, very, very difficult. Anybody in the business will tell you that. So just the fact that you can participate, I bring a lot of my friends, my family here. We're going to have a good time.
Regardless.
No matter what.
Right.
Well, Bobby Flay, this has been an association that goes back a long time. The first time we met you, we were covering the Kentucky Derby. You did make that comment about the teleprompter then, so I'm glad you remembered that.
You're still good.
Yeah.
You're cooking without a prompter.
Yeah, but that's different. You don't want to see me try to talk to a prompter. I am the worst. I'm literally like reading it like this. In the fourth race at Del Mar,
well, we probably
terrible.
would be if we had. By the way, how's the restaurant doing, Amalfi?
Amalfi's doing great in Vegas. You guys have to come by.
Yeah.
I'd love to cook for you guys.
And then here's Caravel out on the racetrack right now. And what are you looking for when you watch your horses in the mornings? Are you just I finally get a chance to be around them?
Yeah, I mean that's really that. Listen, I sort of step back. I let the trainers tell me what they think is going on. I mean this is a very, very beautiful horse, and she's so incredibly fast. I mean, this division is a very interesting division. I mean, the race is going to take probably less than a minute. The speed of which these horses run is just insane. It's very different than a mile-and-a-half horse, so to speak. They're running 5 furlongs, and they're at the gate. And I was listening to one of your stats the other day, 41% from
post
gates,
1 and 2.
Post 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's not the case in this race. We have the 8 posts, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, bigger fields. That was from this summer. It varied, but it was a high statistic this summer. It went from 42 to 38. But yeah, we saw her yesterday, and I know Graham brings her. I go back. Graham and I, obviously both from England, we go back a long ways, and a good friend of mine as well. But she looks tremendous out here, so nice and relaxed. But you're right, she's Usain Bolt's division as opposed to the turf is like a marathon, totally different type of athlete.
Yeah. So Jane Motion, who's Graham's daughter, is running mates with Sophie.
Sophie, yeah.
So we consider this the family horse.
Okay.
So there's a lot of pressure on Caravel. Yeah.
And as Caravel prepares for the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint, I did want to ask you, as we mentioned, you have the homebred Pizza Bianca who will go in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. That's on Friday for Future Stars Friday. Expectations for that horse, first of all?
She's the morning line favorite. Which at 5-1, very lukewarm morning line favorite. I was sitting on my couch watching the draw. And I was just like, I want anywhere from 1 to 4. That would be my. And when she got 1, I was thrilled because I know he's going to be able to save ground from the 1 hole. And I think that's an incredibly important part of turf racing, especially around 2 turns. And so, look, the bottom line is she needs a good trip. She, obviously she's going to save ground. She's not going to be on the lead. She needs a place to kind of tip out at some point. But I have Jose Ortiz. I mean, he's one of the best in the business
for sure.
And so, all I can do is put her in his hands and hope for the best. If she fires. Again, we'll get a scream.
I think you're wrong, Greg. I think she's going to benefit coming from that 1 turn at Woodbine, coming to 2 turns here. I really do, and then the firmer ground maybe.
Well, I went to the race in Woodbine. Yeah. I mean, it was such an important. It was one of the most important races of my life because I bred this horse. It was a Grade 1. It's this mare's first. It's this mare's first foal. You have to remember, I spent a lot of money on the mare. She was the most expensive yearling filly in the hemisphere that year. Never ran.
Wow.
So that's called patience.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
And but as you can imagine, I mean, her family is it's Poirmois. It's gigantic. It's a big Coolmore family.
But why did you breed the Fastnet Rock? That was kind of interesting.
Well, interesting in Europe. So Galileo is everywhere, and all the stallions are by Galileo. So you can't go from Galileo to Galileo. So in Outcross, Fastnet Rock is from Australia originally, and so and I wanted to get some speed into the family. Listen, who knows? I mean, literally, I'm talking about like I know what I'm talking about.
No, it's like great, well versed.
But
really.
but the bottom line is, if it was a perfect science, none of us would be sitting here, right? Because you don't know what you're going to get. But the fact of the matter is, and frankly, in her first race at Saratoga, Christophe Clement, who's handled her incredibly well. By the way, he's never won a Breeders' Cup race.
Right.
I'm hoping to change that for him.
Yeah.
But he's he said to me, yeah, she's training well, but didn't really sort of tip his hand that he thought that she was good. Trainers want to hold back a little bit just in case things don't go well. Yeah. I get that. And there was a lot of chatter. It was in Saratoga, so there's a lot of chatter on the track that Chad Brown had a monster, as they were calling it. And Christophe looked at me and said, "We'll take her on." And then, I knew we had something good.
Yeah.
What's your favorite day at the Breeders' Cup that you've ever had?
Oh, well, you know that one. More Than Real 2010.
You want to watch it?
Cue the tape. Yeah, cue the tape.
Yeah, we're going to cue the tape.
I've never seen this race.
Come on.
Yeah.
So where were you watching this race at Churchill?
In the stands. Okay. Now, right about here at the 16th pole, my friends were behind me. They literally tackled me. I didn't see her across the finish line. They absolutely crushed me. I mean, this was an amazing moment. She was like 16 to 17 to 1. We all bet. And, it was just amazing. She was like 4 wide the entire race.
Yeah, it was a tremendous trip.
It was amazing. And then we took her to Ascot. I mean, it was that's the great thing about this kind of business is like it can take you to, adventures around the world. It's not just, a horse race. It's the entire environment. That
it's the experience that you go with it. When you go to Dubai, Ascot.
I've always wanted to say this to you because we've known each other a long time, but I love that you're self-made. I mean, you are truly one of the great American success stories, and the fact that you love our industry means the world to all of us because you speak to a larger audience beyond horse racing. But back to the first thing that made you famous, and that is the culinary world. Tell us about the cookbook that you have out right now.
Oh, so my latest book is the Beat Bobby Flay Cookbook.
Right.
So it's a collection of recipes, a lot of which are my recipes, but also, oh wow, look at that. But a lot of which are other chefs that have come on and beaten me on the show. And so the book is really, it's like the show. It's a showcase for lots of other people who cook in this country.
I'll tell you what. You are all your shows, you are the face of the Food Network. But I tell you, one of the best ones for me was your series with Giada in Italy.
Oh, in Italy.
Oh, that was unbelievable.
That was amazing.
On Discovery Plus, I think.
It was on Discovery Plus. Yeah, we
that was tremendous.
Yeah, we spent a month in Tuscany and Rome.
Yeah,
never a bad idea.
Yeah,
and just it was just one of those incredible experiences where you just discover and learn and eat amazing food. And like the one thing about it, I love Italy so much. I've been obsessed with it for a couple decades now, and I go there as much as I can. The one thing I love about that place, and most of Europe, is that they. Well, first of all, in Italy, they can actually sip an espresso for 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean,
I've done it in 3 minutes.
And literally that, like go to Starbucks and then go to a coffee shop in Rome. It's a very different experience,
right? Yeah,
and it's just like you're like everything just relaxes and you enjoy
the pace of life.
Yes, it's so nice.
We're not shoveling food in plates like it's 3-hour dinners, 3-hour lunches, that type of thing.
Exactly. Right? It's so great. That's the one thing that I really love about going to a place like Italy. Yeah.
Well, but we could have you on for 3 hours and to have an espresso here. Bobby Flay, best of luck to you at this Breeders' Cup again. And again, thank you for your interest in our sport. You played at the highest level, but thank you for being a friend of TVG. Really
of course, you guys are the best. And by the way, this is one of my favorite weeks of the year. I mean, I'm 7 o'clock. I'm on. You guys have been fantastic. Great insight. A little behind the scenes stuff. You did a little Adam Schefter there. There's lots of inside information going on here. These guys really know what's going on. They are connected to the horse's mouth.
Well, we love it. And this is a guy that knew how to place a $2 exacta before you could fry an egg, right?
Correct. I wish they were still $2.
Bobby Flay joining us on the set here of Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup. When we return, we'll tell you the inspirational story of trainer George Leonard III and a big moment in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. We'll be back with more Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup right after this. Oh, phenomenal.
You know this type of place.
Thank you.
You might even work in one.
Absolutely.
Hot, sweaty, uncomfortable. But it doesn't have to be that way. Big-ass fans keep you cool, comfortable, and productive in any type of space. So no matter where you are, think big. Get cool.
Upgrade your betting experience. The TVG app now includes more features. Track bets with live updates and view potential winnings. Got knocked out of your multi-race wager? Choose Create Bet to play the remaining selections. Alive in the last leg? View personalized wheel pace and see approximate payouts before results are posted. Plus, easily access TVG's improved handicapping tools, including TVG Insights, number fire picks, and odds trend. Bet with the latest features now.
Something about when you get up early, prep the plane, and you take off, and you get that first light of day, and the air is crystal smooth. You can see forever. You have to have the right aircraft for the right flight with the right crew up front. Only NetJets can do this. The flight dissolves into the background. It should just be the here and now.
They turn for home. Dressed is fifth on the outside. Boma tries to find an opening to the rail. It is still Turner Loose with the lead. And Diamond Wow alongside with Dress coming from third. Diamond Wow, Dress stacking up outside of Turner Loose. California Angel running late. Diamond Wow, Turner Loose. California Angel coming on the far outside at the wire. Photo for the win. What a finish in the J.P. Morgan Chase Jessamine.
Well, for about the last week or so, we have told you the story about the 2-year-old filly, California Angel. But for those that aren't familiar with her story just yet, she won the Grade 2 Jessamine Stakes a few weeks back at Keeneland Racecourse, and that was a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Turf. And for her trainer, George Leonard III, it was his first graded stakes victory in his career, going back to a training career that started in 1991. And for George Leonard, it has been a long road to get here, which started in Louisiana.
I train horses because it's my passion. I could do 1,000 other things to make more money, but this is what I love to do. My name is George Leonard III. I train California Angels. I was born in Chicago, Illinois. Both of my parents are from Louisiana, so they moved back to Louisiana. We kept a few horses. We were like weekend warriors. We started off doing a lot of brush track racing around Louisiana. And then we ventured up into Evangeline Downs, Delta Downs, and, you know, we did that most of our lives. That's what we did. We just hustled from racetrack to racetrack. My mom always liked to call me String Bean because growing up I was tall and skinny, which I was not a big fan of, but still, she always thought that was funny to call me String Bean. My dad loved his horses. That was our passion, you know. We had the horses, and my dad was about 5'10". My dad was a very muscular, tough guy. Worked hard. I'd like to believe I'm just like my dad. My dad passed away a few years ago in a car wreck, but we had a really good life, raised by good parents. I've never had a 2-year-old that's been more focused and more professional. You wouldn't know that she's 2 years old. I mean, everything about her is all business. She's just one that I liked, I hoped I could afford to get. I'd have probably went up to 15 to 20, and I probably would have stopped there. But I was shocked that she stopped as early as she did. My wife was ecstatic. She was like, I can't believe you got that one for that cheap. I was like, me either. 5,500. 5,500.
And they're off in the J.P. Morgan Chase Jessamine Stakes.
Halfway down the backside, I thought we were sitting perfect. When they straightened up for home, I was getting a little nervous, a little anxious. I was like, hurry up, hurry. She's got to get to moving here. And then I started leaning with the wire. I was like, hurry, honey, hurry, hurry, hurry.
California Angel running late. Diamond Well, Turner Loose. California Angel coming on the far outside at the wire. Photo for the win.
I saw her win, but, you know, you still got to wait for the photo. But in my mind, I honestly saw that she got up in time. I'm so happy, and it's hard to believe that this is happening to me. You know, we really won. You got to remember, cowboys can't cry, so I can't let no tear come down. You know, I got to hold my breath and stand tall, you know. But, you know, it's just the emotions are overwhelming. Can't forget the queen. Yes. Or there'll be no king. Yes. If I were to get lucky and win a Breeders' Cup race, it'd be, I'm sure, ecstatic as it was to win the Jessamine. But the most important thing is I'll have a whole lot of my family there, you know, to share it with my family. It's a whole different stage, and I'm enjoying every minute of it.
California Angel won the Grade 2 Jessamine Stakes at Keeneland. It was the filly's first graded stakes victory in her career. It was also the first graded stakes win in the career for trainer George Leonard III. And just the other day at the post position draw, unfortunately, she drew a wide stall. Post 14 and a field of 14 for California Angel, who is coming up in Friday's race. And that is going to be the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly Turf. Let's now send you to Michelle Yu.
Thanks, you guys. I'm standing right here in the barn of Richard Mandela. We're actually watching United. He's about to come out right now. And Papa Mandela, can you tell us what's going on?
United a few days ago had a little swelling over a suspensory ligament. We scanned it and it was clean. We thought maybe he just hit it. And worked on it a few days, and today it was looking good, but I thought with a race coming up, I'm not going to go in wondering if he's going to be all right or not. So I let him have a good, strong 2-minute lick for a mile. And afterwards, there was more swelling there than there had been. So that answered the question. We're not going to take a chance. The good news is it scans clean, so there's no real damage, but there's some kind of strain going on, and we can't take a risk.
Always looking out for the welfare of the horse. We appreciate the time today. And guys, you can see United standing right out here with owners Ellen J. Foxwood standing by to take a look at him as well. Christina?
Michelle, I have similar news to report, and with regard to the Breeders' Cup Turf as well, another defection. I am standing outside of Chad Brown's barn, and he told me a few moments ago that Domestic Spendings, 4-1 on the morning line, will be scratched from the race. He said that when they came in this morning, they noticed some inflammation in his left front. He did not train today. He said he's sound and he's comfortable, and we've been taking a look at him, but he said, I know this horse. I know this horse really well. He's never had an issue like this. He's never had any kind of inflammation, and we don't want to take a chance. We don't have the time to do the proper diagnostics here because they really want to look at him with a fine-tooth comb, so they're going to send him to Kentucky for that. He said the good news is that he's comfortable, he's happy. They will most likely be able to press on with the campaign at some point, but this is not the time to push ahead with a horse at any point, and especially a horse of this caliber. So 2 defections from the Breeders' Cup Turf literally in the last 10 minutes. United out, as is Domestic Spending. Todd, that does enable both Bolshoi Ballet and Channel Maker into the field.
Christina, Michelle, thank you for the very latest. Tough news to take. There was a time here in the United States where Domestic Spending and United were 2 of the best prospects towards the Longines Breeders' Cup Turf.
That's an example of 2 trainers doing exactly what they're employed to do. 2 great horsemen. They know their horses. You heard Chad Brown. You know this horse inside and out. It's what I said earlier. You've got to have a photographic memory. When something's different, it alerts you. So filling in the left front ankle, usually that's a little joint fluid, and that would be, the first indication they need to do some more diagnosis. As far as the United situation, that's more of a soft tissue issue, a suspensory ligament. That's the ligament that runs from the back of the cannon bone and runs down the side of the leg, to get specific, and it attaches to 2 bones. Say if this is I'm going to be very rudimentary. Say this was his foot here, the cannon bone. The ligament runs down here, attaches to 2 bones called suspensory ligaments there. And what happens, that suspensory can tear a little bit like a tendon. Maybe it's the beginnings of it. They've caught it early, but that can be a real issue, and those horses take a long time to recover from that. So they're doing the right thing. Again, it's just 2 horsemen and trainers paying attention to their horses.
In both instances, though, very different issues. It's just a sign of the army of people that are involved with each horse to ensure that every measure is in place to protect them when they go out there. Horses, unlike people, can't communicate if there is an issue coming on. So you need the grooms, you need everyone whose hands are on the horses to be able to see any changes that happen, even the slightest of changes that might not be detected in terms of how they're moving
you wouldn't
in the barn.
Yeah, with this change, Todd, as we look at United here, they're obviously talking about and going over the initial beginnings of an injury like this. You wouldn't detect it by the way the horse trains in the morning. He would look like he's galloping while everyone, well, he looks fine. Well, until you get down on your knees there and start, palpating the horse's legs and looking at them, I wish I could get up and kind of point to where the suspensory ligament is, but you can actually see it right there. If you can see the bottom of the horse's foot, okay, the hoof, then you go up that short bone, the past, and then you see that kind of line in the middle of the cannon bone. That's the suspensory ligament right there. And that's the thing that, obviously here, we're zooming in. It's right there. It's kind of that bulge down the side of the horse's leg. Yes, exactly. Yep. Thank you, Michelle. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. That's exactly where it is.
And as Dick Mandela said, the ownership group, Ellen J. Foxwood's out there. I mean, they love all their horses, but United has been very, very special to them. He came so close just a couple of years ago in the Longines Breeders' Cup Turf to beating Bricks and Mortar, who went on to be Horse of the Year. If there's kind of a connection to this year, well, Bricks and Mortar was trained by Chad Brown, United second that year, and now it is a Chad Brown horse that is a late scratch out of here of the Longines Breeders' Cup Turf Turf, and now United is being out as well. The other part to this is horses get in, as Christina mentioned, off the also eligible list. We've been watching horses here in the morning training as if they're preparing for the race, even though they knew they didn't necessarily have a spot, and now that's going to pay off for a couple here in the Longines Breeders' Cup Turf.
You got to be sitting on the bench ready to go. You bought that talking point up earlier in the week. What do you do with a horse that's not in? I said you got to treat them and train them like they're going to get in the race, because look, here we are 48 hours before the race. Channel Maker has got in. The plan was, if he didn't get in, he was going to stay here for another month and run in the Hollywood Turf Cup right here at Del Mar, but now he gets in. So, you know, he's a horse that's run well in this race before, but yeah, Bill Mott trained him like he was going to run in this race anyway.
And Channel Maker has looked very good in the mornings. Disappointing news for the connections of Domestic Spending and United. As reported here on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup, they will not go into the Longines Breeders' Cup Turf, but their racing careers do continue on, and that is the most important aspect here. But they will not have a Breeders' Cup championship moment this year. We'll be back with more Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup after this.
With the TVG app, get expert analysis and free handicapping advice from here. Place a bet in just a few simple taps from here. And even stream races live from here. Access analysis and action from anywhere. Download today and get a $300 risk-free bet on the Breeders' Cup. TVG. Onto the app, off to the races.
Undefeated Grade 1 winner Mastery was a multiple graded stakes winner at 2, including this victory in the Los Alamitos Cash Call Futurity. At 3, he sizzled in the San Felipe Stakes. Now his progeny are bringing top dollar in the sales ring, and his first runners are hitting the track. Mastery, standing at Claiborne Farm.
At PNC Bank, we believe in the power of taking steps forward, moving ahead, whatever the pace and whatever the size. That's why we set out to help make it easier for everyone to move forward financially. With small business, personal banking, wealth, and corporate solutions that help you reach your goals and plan for the future.
It's a girl.
We're doing everything we can to help you get where you want to be. Because sometimes a little help is all you need. See how we can make a difference for you at PNC Bank.
Introducing Giftbox, winner of the Grade 1 Santa Anita Handicap. He's a 3-time graded stakes winning millionaire with 4 triple-digit buyers and a 4 Ragazin to his name. He proved himself early as a graded stakes place 2-year-old, and now his career as a stallion is just getting started. From the first crop of the leading sire Twirling Candy out of a multiple graded stakes producing mare. Giftbox, new for 2021, only at Lane's End.
Well, we caught up with trainer Cherie DeVoe the day before Tarabi shipped out of Keeneland here to Del Mar, and now she's here. She's got post 4. How have things gone with the ship and coming out here to Del Mar with Tarabi?
She settled in quite nicely, gotten over the track well, so all things are going in the right direction for her.
What are the expectations from post position number 4 for you as far as tactics are concerned?
There's a lot of speed all around her, so hopefully they break and she can get a nice stalking position behind that.
You've come here, you're in the John Sadler barn right about there, and we know the relationship with you and your husband David and all of that things. Have you gained any information off of John, advice in these days leading up to the Breeders' Cup with Tarabi?
You know, I actually called John a while ago when we considered sending her to the Breeders' Cup off a layoff, and it's nice to have a group of people, John being one of them, to be able to bounce ideas off of and give you confidence that you're making the right decision, especially since I'm so young in my career. Making these decisions is not easy, and I'm not one that wants to come here just to run. I want to come here with the chance, and wanted to come here with the chance because it's not fair to myself, the staff, especially the filly, if we don't belong. So it's great to have him. Juan Leiva's been getting on her in the morning, and he loves the way she's traveling, so getting his opinion is quite valuable.
What was some of the advice that John gave you in the weeks leading up to this?
You know, I called him
initially just to say, am I off my rocker considering this? And he went over it. We pulled up the numbers, talked it out, and had a really good conversation. And he says, you got to try, and don't be easy. And she's going to have to run a big race, and you're going to have to train her to do that. So that's what we've done, and she's handled it all well. And, so we'll see on tomorrow.
Great to have you here. Good luck tomorrow with Tarabi Cherie.
Thank you so much.
We've been talking since the very first breakfast at the Breeders' Cup about the trainer's chart and how they keep track of all the activity in the morning. So putting together his own trainer's chart to keep track of all these major Breeders' Cup contenders, Simon Bray.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting nostalgic here. It's a throwback to when I used to do this with a slightly bigger chart. Again, just to recap, you're joining us for the first time. Our trainer's chart here, we've kind of replicated what trainers do, how they manage and log what each horse does. This is just a snapshot. 6 quality horses here in the Classic. Of course, the top 4, Jackie's Warrior in the Sprint, Latruska in the Distaff. It all started back on Friday of last week when Medina Spirit was the first to work 3/4 mile, and we've just followed them throughout the week. The key move for Essential Quality and Knicks Go came Sunday when they worked 5 furlongs. They then shipped for Kentucky the following day, and they've been on the track ever since. Latruska, that work, well-publicized work, 5/8 mile, and she does her own thing. She walked, she galloped, GP there, the annotation, she galloped in the pony. And then on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, as predicted, most of these horses were going to gallop leading into the big weekend. We come to the final day here on Thursday. Let's just run through what they did. Essential Quality, he galloped. The GM went to the gate. Everybody else just galloped a normal routine here. Jackie's Warrior, of course, just breezed last Sunday, so that horse looks tremendous. We saw gallop on the show. And Latruska, again, just galloping into the race. So the same thing will happen tomorrow for all these major contenders. They'll probably go ahead and gallop tomorrow before they participate on the big weekend. So that's it. It also indicates, you know what else it indicates, Todd? Not it's only race time, but it's coming to the end of our show here. We filled in all the blanks. It's over.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 breakfast at Breeders' Cup shows. I've enjoyed each and every one of them, and I got very sentimental this morning as well. We still have about 17 minutes left in the show, and that means Michelle Yu is around the backside.
Thank you, Todd. I have tracked down Graham Motion. We're actually watching his filly Caravel cool out right now. Graham, it is time for Connections Quiz. Are you ready for this?
Oh, geez, maybe not.
You got a little more nervous the longer we've been standing here, right?
Yes.
I promise you'll get this. No one's gotten a question wrong yet.
Great. So now it's real pressure.
Can you name me a Breeders' Cup winner whose odds were 45-1 or higher?
I think she had a count was 45-1, was she?
46-1.
There you go. That was an easy one.
See, I told you would get it right. Tell us about Shared Accounts win.
Actually, that was her sister that won yesterday, won the 3rd race. Yeah. So here at Del Mar. Yeah, that was amazing. I still remember it like it was yesterday. And we were coming in, a little bit like Caravel, coming in off a bad race. Yeah, it was pretty special. All Breeders' Cup wins are special.
Thanks for joining us, and congratulations, you got it right.
Good to be here.
Keep quizzing the connections back here, guys.
Good to see Graham here at the Breeders' Cup, and obviously training for Bobby Flay, whom we had on earlier. Probably the quietest part of our morning, and that's because the track closed right now. People just now take an opportunity to socialize and catch up. But we've had a lot on this show so far, so we're going to catch our breath, and we'll be back with more Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup.
With the TVG app, get expert analysis and free handicapping advice from here. Place a bet in just a few simple taps from here. And even stream races live from here. Access analysis and action from anywhere. Download today and get a $300 risk-free bet on the Breeders' Cup. TVG. Onto the app, off to the races.
Undefeated Grade 1 winner Mastery was a multiple graded stakes winner at 2, including this victory in the Los Alamitos Cash Call Futurity. At 3, he sizzled in the San Felipe Stakes. Now his progeny are bringing top dollar in the sales ring, and his first runners are hitting the track. Mastery, standing at Claiborne Farm.
At PNC Bank, we believe in the power of taking steps forward, moving ahead, whatever the pace and whatever the size. That's why we set out to help make it easier for everyone to move forward financially. With small business, personal banking, wealth, and corporate solutions that help you reach your goals and plan for the future.
It's a girl.
We're doing everything we can to help you get where you want to be, because sometimes a little help is all you need. See how we can make a difference for you at PNC Bank.
Introducing Giftbox, winner of the Grade 1 Santa Anita Handicap. He's a 3-time graded stakes winning millionaire with 4 triple-digit buyers and a 4 Ragazin to his name. He proved himself early as a graded stakes place 2-year-old, and now his career as a stallion is just getting started. From the first crop of the leading sire Twirling Candy out of a multiple graded stakes producing mare. Giftbox, new for 2021, only at Lane's End.
We mentioned it's all about the experience. Part of that is the merchandise and taking home a souvenir from this year's Breeders' Cup. Let's take a look at some of the merchandise on offer. We have quite a bit of equestrian jewelry around this way. You can see some really beautiful pieces. Lots of folks in here checking it out this morning. Over this direction, some nice belts, other leather goods, more jewelry. Again, with the stirrups on there, you'll see a lot of sort of equestrian type pieces. These I love because it has been a little colder in Del Mar, I think, than everybody expected. So if you forgot to bring a warm enough jacket, come over this way. Behind me here, Krista is actually embroidering some of the pieces. This only takes a couple minutes, so if you pick anything up that you'd like to have personalized, you can do so. And then, of course, any horse person knows, right? The barber jackets. This is where it's at. The jackets, the vests, very horsey type of paraphernalia that you can wear each and every morning if you're out there watching your horses train, or if you just want to come as a fan. There's some more casual stuff as well. Of course, we are in Del Mar, so back around this way you have some t-shirts, just some sweatshirts, some hoodies, quite a bit of ball caps as well. Let's take a look at some of these hats, actually. This is the official logo for Breeders' Cup and Del Mar, so you have that opportunity. The white hat, the Breeders' Cup horse, this one's a classic one. Gotta love that. That is timeless, that piece. And quite a few other pieces around here. I mean, I could get lost in this store where the turf meets the surf, Breeders' Cup hoodies, wear those ones out on the beach if you have a chance to get out there, coffee mugs, all sorts of other kitchen items here. Oh, koozies, that's a new one. That's just about the right size for a White Claw, am I right? Those are always good out on the beach. And the gold coffee mug, I actually have one of these at home. I keep that at home all the time, quite a bit. I just want to check in on that personalization, though, and see how we're doing. Krista, have you had a lot of interest in the personalization this week?
A great deal, yes.
All the owners and trainers coming out this way. I think this piece is just about done. You know what, let me show you one more thing before we check back. Chili, over this direction, these bags. Rebecca Ray, quite a few nice leather handbags. The stirrups aboard again, the bits on these. Cheval handbag over here. Good totes as well. I've seen a lot of people with these ones over as they travel. This is one of the bags that they give a lot of the participants and the different owners and whatnot to make sure they have a good space to take home all of their merchandise. And I think we are done. I'm going to check out this jacket over here. The final product. I love it. How about that? We are ready. Personalized and ready to go.
When a new wave calls, you answer. When adventure calls, you answer. When the surf calls, you paddle out. When sunsets call, you find the best view. When the sand in your toes calls, you put more sand between them. When the ocean calls, you wave hello. Because when happiness calls, you answer. San Diego Happiness is calling you back.
Friday and Saturday, get cash back for finishing second or third on all Del Mar races. We'll refund your first win wager up to $10. Breeders' Cup Friday and Saturday. Bet to win to get money back for finishing second or third. Opt in at tvg.com/promos.
Upgrade your betting experience. The TVG app now includes more features. Track bets with live updates and view potential winnings. Got knocked out of your multi-race wager? Choose Create Bet to play the remaining selections. Alive in the last leg? View personalized wheel pace and see approximate payouts before results are posted. Plus, easily access TVG's improved handicapping tools, including TVG Insights, number fire picks, and odds trend. Bet with the latest features now.
Championship Saturday. Join us for the TVG Breeders' Cup Players Show. Exclusive insight and expert analysis, a priority before you make your selections. TVG's Breeders' Cup Players Show kicks off Saturday, 11:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific.
Respect the law. He's earned it. A Grade 1 winning juvenile.
'Tis the law, pops the cork in the champagne.
A classic winning 3-year-old.
'Tis the law is gonna win the first leg of the Triple Crown.
5 triple-digit buyers.
Respect the law, 'tis the law.
The best son of Red Hot Sire Constitution.
He's left the others behind. He's gonna win the Run Happy Travers.
'Tis the law.
And Essential Quality is trying to get them. Here's Hot Rod Charlie, a huge long shot at 94-1, coming into the final 16th. But Essential Quality runs by. Jackie's Warriors giving way. Essential Quality's going to do it. Essential Quality has won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile over long shot Hot Rod Charlie.
Well, Keaton was referencing this earlier. It's something to be appreciated. I like glasses. Keep your glasses on.
Keep them on. I'm always doing this.
You look good.
You want to be different.
No,
That's
actually, yes.
Very dramatic.
I always take them off.
Okay.
I mean, you guys look so intelligent with them on. I think I might just go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I have to have these to fool everyone. So what a Breeders' Cup Juvenile last year as Essential Quality 1, and then you had Hot Rod Charlie. Simon mentioned Ron Bauer 4th, who would go on to win the Preakness. We wanted to look back at Essential Quality based on his workout. So he comes in to the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic this year. That's quite an accomplishment to go from the TVG Breeders' Cup Juvenile the previous year and be such a good horse that you could end up in the biggest race of the 2 days. But how does he look at in his preparations as a 2-year-old versus now as a 3-year-old?
Yeah, I know many of you have seen this yesterday, the last couple of days. If you haven't, this is video worth watching here. This is a little different angle than we've shown you. We had a side-by-side view. A little harder to see the two horses here, the two comparisons here. But Essential Quality on the bottom, Halloween this year, and Essential Quality on the top last year as a 2-year-old. The first thing that you'll notice, especially if you don't have a trained eye to look at the horses, you might think they're two different horses. The color, more of a roan color, gray with the chestnut on top. This year, you can see Essential Quality's filled out, developed. He's got white, he's got gray. As we get a little older, that's what happens. Just look at Todd's head to the right of me.
Nice.
Yeah, but look, Caton, I mean, he has developed significantly from the age of 2 to 3. You can see just a transformation from, you know, the adolescent adult to a nearly full mature adolescent teenager to a full mature adult.
Well, and this is ideally what you want to see happen, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't always work that way. But he is a bigger, stronger, more composed version of himself from 2 to 3. We saw it in terms of how the work was completed, the way he was able to pass his workmate and continue on in the work. You saw it in his size and his physical stature. So it doesn't always work that way. A lot of horses that are precocious enough and skilled enough to be winning the Breeders' Cup Juvenile at 2, that's it. They're done. They may be good early on in their 3-year-old season, but the rest of the class catches up. It's almost like the high school player that's a star. By the time they get to the major leagues, they're not necessarily anybody better than anybody else. But this is exceptional when you have horses that could come out of the 2-year-old crop that are still going strong in classic division.
Is the 3-year-old crop exceptional in your mind? Because that's the other part to this. Do the 3-year-olds measure up against the older horses? We saw Medina Spirit beat older horses in the Awesome again. Is that a portend of things to come?
Well, here's the way I look at it. I think First of all, I don't think the older handicap horse group is as deep as we would normally see. It's very cyclical. You have a horse that, like a gun runner, you know, they go by the wayside, and you wait a couple of years for that void to be filled. If Essential Quality, I don't think he gets the respect that he deserves. If he'd won the Kentucky Derby, I mean, we'd be talking about him with different types of adjectives. So I think the 3-year-old crop between him, Hot Rod Charlie, Medina Spirit, Rombauer, it's a very, very solid group, and they have the potential to take that into next year and become the leading older handicap group.
But he is going to have to be that exceptional horse to be rested since the Travers Stakes and come in off works alone against a field that is as deep as this field is and win again.
Yeah. 14 championship races, and it will conclude with the biggest race of all, the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. Let's get more on this race and our Breeders' Cup Classic report, starting with Christina Blacker.
Todd, similar to yesterday, no news is good news. I've been keeping an eye on both Tripoli and Medina Spirit. I spoke to Juan Leyva, the assistant for John Sadler. He's been galloping Tripoli here. He did gallop again early this morning. Juan told me that he doesn't normally get on this horse up at home. There would be another exercise rider that normally gets aboard him. He said he's been really fun to gallop. He galloped well again today, and he's just an easy horse. He drops a bit. He's very happy out there, and he said anybody could gallop Tripoli. He's just happy to be doing the job. Same to be said for Medina Spirit. Again, 7:45, that's been the same time he has been coming out. Routine gallop for him as well. All systems go as we are just a day ahead of their races on Saturday. Michelle?
Thanks, Christina. I did catch up with John Sheriffs, who with Express Train, he did the same thing that he did yesterday, backed up and then galloped about a mile and a half. We got a nice up close and personal look of him yesterday, and that was really fun to get to see him. I think he's been looking really great, traveling over the surface here at Del Mar. Also, Stiletto Boy, we saw him work 2 days ago. He walked the shed row yesterday. I'm still waiting for a call back from Ed Moger. Ed Moger, I'm looking for you to find out what he did today, but we'll do my best to update a little bit later on social media, guys. How about you, Scott?
Well, the Cox Barn is in full swing, as we've seen each and every morning, and under the same routine. Essential Quality, Nixco, these two classic contenders and two of the leading favorites for this year's Breeders' Cup Classic. Essential Quality came out, and he actually stood at the gate, and I spoke to the Cox camp, and they said this is pretty standard for his routine. 2 days out from the race, they take him to the gate, so just staying with that same routine, getting him in race mode, essentially, you would have to think is part of the motivation behind doing something and staying to that routine. And for Nixco, coming out and looking the same Joaquin as he has each and every morning. So all systems go for two of the leading contenders, the two grays out of the Cox Barn, Nixco and Essential Quality.
Scott, earlier this morning at 7:45, we saw Hot Rod Charlie on the track with the gallop for Lava Man. That has been pretty much the routine that Hot Rod Charlie has had over the past few days. I touched on the equipment change earlier on in the show, that he is going to be getting the blinkers put back on for the Breeders' Cup Classic, but those same French cut blinkers are the exact blinkers that he wore earlier on through his racing career. Art collector for Hall of Fame trainer Bill Mott, he seeks his third Breeders' Cup Classic win. He was on the track earlier today for a routine gallop, and that was also the case for Max Player for Hall of Famer Steve Asmussen, who also seeks his third Breeders' Cup Classic win. And Max Player did have a little bit of a tweak in his schedule today. He went to the gate first, visited the starting gate, had a gate schooling session, and then he went out to the main track for his routine gallop. Michelle, who's left that we need to update all the viewers on in the Breeders' Cup Classic?
Oh, Joaquin, Ed Moger's watching our show. He knew I was trying to get a hold of him, so he finally gave me a text back to let me know that he had an easy gallop today with Stiletto Boy, and he'll actually do the same thing tomorrow. So not only today's update, but also tomorrow, the day right before his big dance in the Breeders' Cup Classic.
The very latest surrounding the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. Medina Spirit out here this morning, taking a look at the field that will assemble for the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic on Saturday, a field of 9. As we said, really not a lot of drama around the post position draw. Everybody got a little bit something. Nobody was really compromised in here. And you know, in a field of 9, they got a long time to sort it out before they get to that first turn at a mile and a quarter.
Well, the configuration here, they will break at the top of the stretch. Where horses come around the turn at the top of the stretch, that's where the starting gate's going to be. It's going to be back about another 200 yards, right deep in the chute. So they have a long run past the grandstand for the first time to establish position.
Okay, we were talking about Medina Spirit beating older horses in the Awesome Again last time out. Here's a look at that effort. And he did it the way John Velasquez says, I'm going to try and do it in the Breeders' Cup Classic. I'm just going to get out there and let this horse roll.
Well, they have to. I mean, it's proven to be so successful with wins in the Derby in this race. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The issue, I mean, he's going to try his best. We've talked about it. The big issue is, though, he's going to have Nick's Go facing him on the front end. He hasn't had a horse like that with that type of speed to challenge him in these races.
He was in the middle of the field in a compact field with very little pressure throughout that race. This race, he's toward the outside of a very fast horse in Nick's Go. It's a different race altogether as to how it could probably
Tactically,
start.
That's going to be one of the best races to look at, the Breeders' Cup Classic.
Do you want to give away a pick?
Oh, yeah, Essential Quality.
Far and away.
Far and away.
I'm going back and forth between Essential Quality and Hot Rod Charlie at this point.
Those are two very good options.
Yeah.
And as Tom Petty once sang, the waiting is the hardest part, but we're almost done waiting for the Breeders' Cup. Tomorrow, Friday, is the first of 2 championship days racing with Future Stars Friday, and then Saturday, 9 championship races. And that is it for Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup. But before we leave the air, there are some people that need to be mentioned who work so very hard on this show, putting it together behind the scenes. I want to start with Becky Witzman Somerville, coordinating producer. She's been working on the show for months, and I think you saw the results. It turned out. Also, senior producer Christian Lee, working way back there somewhere in one of those production trucks, and working on the front board. He doesn't just turn the camera on and walk away for 3 hours. Chad Noche, our director, what a phenomenal job. And I mention all 3 of them because they are the department heads of this amazing crew that is with us from early morning hours into the later morning hours to bring you all these moments, like celebrity chef Bobby Flay joining us here on the set, Aidan's Army, all the champions of the Breeders' Cup. And my thanks to Simon Bray, Caton Bradar, Scott Hazelton, Mike Joyce, Christina Blacker, Rishi Prasad, and Michelle Yu. I'm Todd Schrupp. Thanks for watching Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup on America's Horse Racing Network, TVG.